This is the part 4 of the novel. For other parts, please refer to the description of this video or the video list on the channel. Chapter 60, Alone Together. Jiang Qingning's villa, intended for Qin Fan, was situated atop the highest peak of Jiang City, Feihong Mountain. Whenever the weather permitted, one could often behold a rainbow arching across the sky from the mountaintop, hence the name Feihong Mountain. Jiang Qingning's gift to Qin Fan was located in the Feihong Fairy Garden luxury residential area within Feihong Mountain. Below the mountain lay Western-style houses, while on the mountain stood over 20 classical villas or courtyard residences. Mr. Qin, your villa is the one at the top, labeled Heavenly Number 1, Jiang Qingning spoke to Qin Fan as she drove into the villa area. Acceptable feng shui, I suppose we can make do, Qin Fan commented after surveying the area. Jiang Qingning nearly spat blood at his response. This villa was a rarity in Jiang City, so much so that even the wealthy elites in the vicinity found it difficult to acquire, yet to Qin Fan, it was merely something to make do with. Disheartened, Jiang Qingning had thought to win Qin Fan's favor. Soon, Jiang Qingning led Qin Fan to the Heavenly Number 1 villa. After getting out of the car, she guided him into the villa. Facing the river and backed by the mountain, exceptionally serene, with front and back gardens, plus a swimming pool. Mr. Qin, are you satisfied? Jiang Qingning introduced as they entered the villa. The entire villa, adorned with intricately carved redwood and solid bluestones, amidst the mist and lush greenery of the mountaintop, appeared particularly elegant. Though it had a classical exterior, its interior boasted advanced amenities including a swimming pool and tennis court. After inspecting it, Qin Fan nodded. Spacious enough, quite satisfactory. To him, amenities like the pool and garden held little significance. What mattered was the vast space that he could customize according to his needs. Upon hearing this, Jiang Qingning smiled sweetly at Qin Fan. Mr. Qin, you must be tired from last night. Rest here for a while, everything you need is inside. Alright, Qin Fan agreed. Jiang Qingning then adjusted her collar delicately, her exquisite collarbones subtly revealed. Mr. Qin, I'll go freshen up and change. Biting her lip, Jiang Qingning's eyes carried a hint of shyness, akin to enticing ripe cherries. She was eager not to miss this rare opportunity to be alone with Qin Fan. I'll wander around, Qin Fan said casually before entering the villa without casting a glance at her. Jiang Qingning felt somewhat speechless but resolved, I must win him over later. She then proceeded to take a bath in the villa. Meanwhile, Qin Fan, after a few rounds of exploration, had already devised a layout plan in his mind. With the plan in place, he needed to gather some necessary materials and thus planned to seek Jiang Qingning's assistance in ordering them. However, as soon as he stepped into the hall, he caught sight of a pair of long, slender legs moving about in the room. Jiang Qingning had just finished bathing, her hair still slightly damp, wearing a silk nightgown. Already naturally beautiful, her appearance after the bath added a touch of tender fragility, arousing a sense of pity. Seeing Qin Fan, Jiang Qingning smiled charmingly and approached with 2 glasses of red wine. This is Romani Conti red wine, acquired from the auction house in Hong Kong. Please, Mr. Qin, have a taste. The scent of shower gel mingled with her natural fragrance enveloped Qin Fan as he accepted the glass, examining Jiang Qingning's graceful figure. His gaze made Jiang Qingning's heart leap with joy as she ran her fingers through her hair, speaking seductively, cheers, Mr. Qin. For most men, encountering such a scene with a beautiful woman offering wine while dressed in a thin nightgown would undoubtedly lead to a swift seduction. However, Qin Fan was no ordinary man. Is this truly appropriate? Qin Fan set the glass aside, questioning. What? Jiang Qingning was momentarily puzzled. I understand your intentions, Qin Fan continued, but if you proceed like this, won't you regret it? With a profound gaze, Qin Fan's words made Jiang Qingning's heart tremble. Struggling to maintain her composure, she asked, Mr. Qin, could you clarify? Qin Fan shook his head, stepping forward to wrap his arms around Jiang Qingning's waist, pulling her close. Their eyes met, and the atmosphere became increasingly ambiguous. Jiang Qingning blushed intensely, her breathing becoming rapid, and her heart pounding as she awaited Qin Fan's next move. Qin Fan gazed at Jiang Qingning's enchanting visage and calmly said, You rejected the alliance with the Fu family. Though you're from a collateral branch, you could have ascended within the family hierarchy by marrying into the main branch, but you refused, indicating you don't want to be a mere pawn in a transaction. Jiang Qingning was stunned by his words. Do you recall our first encounter? Qin Fan fixed his gaze on Jiang Qingning. What exactly are you trying to say? Jiang Qingning asked in return. Our initial meeting wasn't pleasant, but it left a deep impression on me. I thought you were an independent, confident woman with ideas of your own. But it seems I was mistaken, Xin Fan chuckled. With that, he released her. Ah! Jiang Qingning exclaimed in surprise as she lost her balance, falling to the ground with her clothes somewhat disheveled. Now seated on the ground, Jiang Qingning gazed up at Xin Fan, her demeanor no longer shy but rather cold. Mr. Xin, what exactly do you mean? Do you like me? Xin Fan inquired. Jiang Qingning faltered. Since you have no feelings for me, yet engage in such actions, aren't you reducing yourself to a mere pawn? You clearly possess more value than merely being part of the Fu family, but that's all you seem to see, Xin Fan said calmly. Xin Fan. Jiang Qingning stood up abruptly, tears welling in her eyes as she stared at him with a sense of injustice. You've gone too far. Having grasped Xin Fan's meaning, she understood that offering her body in exchange for what she desired appeared degrading in his eyes. But I am a daughter of the Jiang family. Although the Jiangs are still the foremost family in Jiang City, it's common knowledge that their influence won't last long. Therefore, I must bear the responsibility of revitalizing the Jiang family. I have no choice in matters of love and marriage. If you think I'm degrading myself, I don't care. As long as it helps restore the Jiang family, I'm willing. Jiang Qingning glared at Xin Fan, her eyes red with tears and filled with grievances. Xin Fan looked at Jiang Qingning and suddenly smiled, saying, You needn't go to such lengths as long as your Jiang family doesn't betray me. I will ensure the Jiang's security. Chapter 61, I'm just not interested in you. Upon hearing Xin Fan's words, Jiang Qingning was momentarily taken aback before speaking, Really? Of course, there's no need for me to deceive you, Xin Fan replied earnestly. Upon hearing this, Jiang Qingning wiped away her tears, revealing a smile, then asked, Did you reject me just now because of your girlfriend, Lin Qingyan? Xin Fan chuckled at Jiang Qingning's question and replied, That has nothing to do with her. I'm simply not interested in you. Upon hearing this, Jiang Qingning's expression turned cold as she exclaimed, You. She really wanted to curse at him. Couldn't he speak more tactfully? It would have been more comfortable for her if he had rejected her because of Lin Qingyan. Why was this person so despicable? But for some reason, Jiang Qingning found Xin Fan intriguing again and smiled before saying, It seems I've overestimated myself and underestimated you. The words you just said truly awakened me. There's no need for me, Jiang Qingning, to capture a man's heart through such degrading means, she continued confidently. Xin Fan, listen to me. You rejected me just now, but I won't give up. Sooner or later, you'll fall for me. Xin Fan couldn't help but laugh at her words and said, This is the Jiang Qingning I first met. Jiang Qingning rolled her eyes at Xin Fan and said, You'll have to wait a long time if you miss this opportunity. Don't regret it. With that, Jiang Qingning turned and went to change her clothes. Xin Fan shrugged and said nothing. Soon, Jiang Qingning changed into a casual outfit, looking youthful and beautiful. Am I not beautiful? Do you regret rejecting me earlier? Jiang Qingning walked out, teasing Xin Fan. You're too confident, Xin Fan couldn't help but say. Jiang Qingning rolled her eyes at Xin Fan. She could tell that he was a straight shooter and wouldn't sweet-talk women. But she didn't mind. She could turn him into a warm-hearted man later. I have something to do. I'll leave now, Xin Fan said. Today was another day for Xiang Shui's treatment, so it was time for him to leave. All right, Jiang Qingning nodded, and they walked out together. However, Xin Fan's phone suddenly rang, and when he answered, it was Ning Rushuan on the other end. He immediately took the call. Mr. Xin, your car has been repaired. Where are you? I'll come over to you, Ning Rushuan's voice came through the phone. Xin Fan was taken aback by this and replied, I'm at Feihong Fairy Garden. I'll bring the car over to you, Ning Rushuan said. No need. Just give me the address, and I'll come over myself, Xin Fan replied. It's at Sunshine Auto Repair. I'll send you the address later. Ning Rushuan started to say. Before she could finish, there was a loud bang from Xin Fan's phone, followed by the sound of gunfire and the whistling of sharp weapons, along with a few screams. What's happening? Xin Fan's expression changed as he spoke. However, there was no response from Ning Rushuan's end, only a busy tone. What's wrong? Jiang Qingning asked immediately. Ning Rushuan just said my car was fixed at Sunshine Auto Repair, but I heard an explosion. Something must have happened. Xin Fan replied. What? Something happened to Sister Xian? Jiang Qingning's face changed drastically upon hearing this. Let's go. Take me to Sunshine Auto Repair. Xin Fan said to Jiang Qingning. Okay, Jiang Qingning immediately agreed. The two quickly got into the car and hurried towards Sunshine Auto Repair. Sunshine Auto Repair was the largest and best auto repair shop in Jiang City, located outside the city at the foot of a mountain. Jiang Qingning drove Xin Fan, and it took them nearly 40 minutes to reach their destination. When Xin Fan arrived, one part of Sunshine Auto Repair was already engulfed in flames, and the fire department had arrived to put out the fire. Many people had been rescued from the fire and were being taken away in ambulances. Xin Fan and Jiang Qingning got out of the car and rushed towards the ambulances to find Ning Rushuan. However, they couldn't find Ning Rushuan, but they did find her assistant, Chen Duo. Chen Duo was seriously injured, barely clinging to life, and was being taken away in an ambulance. Chen Duo, where's Sister Xian? Jiang Qingning rushed to Chen Duo's side and asked anxiously. Miss Jiang, please. Please go and save Sister Xian. Chen Duo struggled to speak. Don't disturb the injured. Her injuries are severe, and if she speaks again, she might die. A paramedic stopped Jiang Qingning. Move aside, Xin Fan said loudly, pushing aside the paramedic. Hey, what are you doing? The patient might die. The paramedic was pushed away by Xin Fan and was extremely anxious. Ignoring him, Xin Fan quickly grabbed Chen Duo's hand and quietly used a healing technique. Chen Duo's injuries quickly improved, but Xin Fan didn't completely heal her, leaving her with no life-threatening conditions, only needing to rest for about 10 days to fully recover. Where's Ning Rushuan? Xin Fan asked. After Chen Duo recovered, she looked at Xin Fan and said, Mr. Xin, hurry and save Sister Xian. She drove towards the west. I'll go now. Xin Fan replied. I'll go with you, Jiang Qingning immediately said. You'll only slow me down, Xin Fan said unapologetically. Jiang Qingning was speechless for a moment. Ignoring Jiang Qingning, Xin Fan quickly ran towards the parking lot of the auto repair shop. There was no fire in the parking lot, and Lin Qingyan's little Fiat car was parked there. Xin Fan quickly got into the car, started it, and drove towards the west. To the west was the mountain road. Xin Fan drove along the mountain road, searching for Ning Rushuan's whereabouts. In fact, Xin Fan could easily find Ning Rushuan using the simplest method. He could release all of his nascent soul cultivation, and his powerful divine sense could cover an area of over 100 miles, quickly locating Ning Rushuan. However, in doing so, his protective demonic energy would naturally dissipate, and everything around him would be destroyed by the demonic energy, which was obviously not acceptable. So, he could only search along the mountain road while releasing his divine sense to check the situation within 100 meters. Suddenly, when Xin Fan reached a bend in the road and stopped, he got out of the car and walked to the roadside. He jumped onto a protruding tree trunk and looked down below the cliff. Faint sounds of gunfire could be heard, indicating that Ning Rushuan had definitely come here and was then attacked. The next moment, Xin Fan jumped down towards the bottom of the cliff. Chapter 62, I'm not a part of the Jianghu. At the mountainside, a group of brigands clad in black attire, brandishing their weapons, besieged a Rolls-Royce. A black-clad figure suddenly felt shrouded in shadow, instinctively looking upward. Bang! Xin Fan descended from the sky like a cannonball, hitting the black-clad man with a resounding crash. The unfortunate man's head burst open like a flower, blood and brain matter staining the ground, a scene of gruesome demise. Simultaneously, the thunderous impact of Xin Fan's landing stirred up dust and gravel, leaving the other 9 black-clad men disheveled, waving away the flying debris. A middle-aged man recovered first, glaring angrily at Xin Fan, shouting, "Who the hell are you?" This middle-aged man, named Wei Xiong, was a consummate pre-celestial martial artist, ranking 43rd on the Xianmen pre-celestial rankings. Today's mission was to ambush Ning Rushuan, who was out, and victory was at hand, only to be interrupted by someone falling from the sky. Wei Xiong swept away the dust, his eyes fixed on Xin Fan's descent, filled with murderous intent. Xin Fan quickly surveyed the scene, observing the chaos, severed limbs, and over 30 corpses, along with traces of explosions, indicating a recent intense battle. Then, he looked to the center of the battlefield, where 2 cars were parked, their exteriors riddled with bullet holes. Leaning against the Rolls-Royce was an elderly man, holding a bloodstained long sword, gasping for breath, covered in wounds, clearly at the end of his strength. Beside him lay a man and a woman, both deceased. Behind the Rolls-Royce, Ning Ruxuan took cover, her clothes disheveled, hair in disarray, panting heavily, appearing extremely disheveled. However, amidst her disarray, there was a sense of composure. And it was this composure that allowed her to survive to this moment. She tightly gripped several throwing knives in her hand, while 3 assassins nearby had their throats pierced by the flying blades. Around the Rolls-Royce were 9 assassins, each emanating a murderous aura, ready to execute Ning Ruxuan. However, both sides now turned their attention to Qin Fan, who had descended from the sky. Seeing Qin Fan's appearance, Ning Ruxuan was momentarily stunned, never expecting him to appear here at this moment to rescue her. Wei Xiong, burning with fury at the death of his comrade, roared, "You killed third brother! You killed third brother! I'll kill you! I'll kill you!" One of the men roared, charging at Qin Fan. This big man wielded a battle axe, also a pre-celestial martial artist. Mr. Qin. Upon seeing this, Ning Ruxuan quickly stood up and ran towards Qin Fan. At the same time, she was about to throw a throwing knife at the man. However, in that instant, another man seized the opportunity, instantly attacking Ning Ruxuan. This burly man, with great strength, forcibly collided with Ning Ruxuan. Ning Ruxuan let out a scream, feeling like she had been hit hard by a small car, lifted off the ground, and sent flying. Just as she was about to crash into the cliff, a figure appeared out of nowhere, reaching out and catching her in mid-air, holding her securely in his arms. Upon seeing the person clearly, Ning Ruxuan's face was filled with astonishment. Not only her, but everyone else was as well. No one understood how Qin Fan had come over just now and caught Ning Ruxuan. Previously, Qin Fan was over 10 meters away from this side, but in an instant, he appeared and saved Ning Ruxuan. Absolutely inconceivable. "Brothers, kill him, kill him!" Wei Xiong roared. And the others immediately rushed towards Qin Fan, some raising their guns to shoot at him. "Be careful!" Ning Ruxuan screamed in panic. "I'm fine." Qin Fan responded casually. He had intended to put Ning Ruxuan down, but considering the potential danger, he simply held her in his arms for protection at this moment. A killer with a large knife had already rushed to Qin Fan's side, swinging his blade at him. With chi surging on the blade, it erupted with astonishing power. A single blow that even pre-celestial martial artists would find difficult to withstand. However, Qin Fan didn't even look, simply lifting his foot and kicking towards the attacker. With great force, the kick landed on the man's chest, causing it to cave in, and then the entire person was sent flying. Bang! A loud bang ensued as the assassin crashed into the cliff, creating a human-shaped pit embedded in it, instantly killed. Seeing this, the other assassins immediately opened fire at Qin Fan. Bang! 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 Continuous gunfire rang out as dozens of bullets poured towards Qin Fan. Qin Fan knew these bullets couldn't harm him at all, but the thought of Ning Ruxuan being hit by a stray bullet would be troublesome, so he turned around and used his back to block them. Feeling this scene, Ning Ruxuan's heart trembled, understanding that Qin Fan was deliberately protecting her. In an instant, her heart experienced waves of emotion. She had grown up with her grandfather, inheriting the Ning surname from him, and then inheriting the Qianhuang Hall. Living in the underground forces of Qianhuang Hall for more than 20 years, she knew she had to be independent, to be strong, relying on herself for everything, protecting her sister, her subordinates, and Qianhuang Hall. For so many years, she had shielded others from wind and rain. And now, for the first time, she felt the sensation of being protected by someone. Originally, she was only grateful to Qin Fan for saving her sister Ning Keka, but in this moment, the waves of emotion in her heart caused her mindset to change. The embrace of Qin Fan gave her an incomparably secure feeling, even to the point of feeling intoxicated. Pop. 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 The bullets poured onto Qin Fan's body, sounding like beans falling, awakening Ning Ruxuan from her daze. Are you okay? Ning Ruxuan asked anxiously. You were just shot. I'm fine. Qin Fan responded casually, setting Ning Ruxuan down. Upon hearing this, Ning Ruxuan's heart pounded wildly, realizing that he didn't want her to worry. And as Qin Fan finished speaking, his gaze shifted towards the 4 gunmen. Their expressions hardened, raising their guns once again to shoot, while Qin Fan swept his foot on the ground, sending up sand and gravel, then shot out like bullets, striking all of them, turning them into hornet nests, instantly killing them. This scene truly shocked everyone present, and the assassins all showed fear, constantly retreating. Blades and bullets are ineffective, flying stones kill men, You're a master. Wei Xiong's heart shook violently, his face showing fear, as he retreated while begging for mercy. Chapter 63, Death is Insignificant. Amidst the silence, Ning Rushuan and her companions gazed at the corpses of the assassins. Their silence did not stem from sympathy for these killers, but from the awe inspired by Qin Fan's prowess. Although Ning Rushuan had heard of Qin Fan from the Public Security Bureau and even suspected that he was the skilled individual, witnessing his true power left her profoundly astonished. Blades and bullets failed against him, he dispatched foes with ease and composure. This was what truly stupefied Ning Rushuan and the others, not just his strength, but his decisive and composed demeanor in action. Having experienced numerous life-and-death battles within the underground forces, they could not match Qin Fan's calm and nonchalant approach to killing. It left Ning Rushuan and her companions speechless, their throats dry. "Sir, I am Ning Dalong," spoke up a warmly welcoming Ning Dalong, expressing gratitude for Qin Fan's life-saving intervention. "Your act of saving the young lady will be etched in my heart." "May I inquire your name?" "Uncle Long, he is called Qin Fan." "You may address him as Mr. Qin," Ning Rushuan intervened, approaching Qin Fan. "He's a friend who rescued my sister, Coco." Upon learning that Qin Fan was Ning Rushuan's friend, Ning Dalong's demeanor shifted to one of profound respect. Qin Fan had encountered Ning Rushuan several times and had noticed the discreet protection around her. However, Ning Rushuan's willingness to reveal this secret spoke volumes of her trust in him. "Indeed, I came here for my car, and then, coincidentally, here," Qin Fan replied casually, recounting the events. "There was an explosion, and I came to check. Then, I encountered Chen Duo. Unexpectedly, you've helped us multiple times." "I don't know how to repay you," Ning Rushuan smiled appreciatively. Despite her disheveled appearance, her demeanor still exuding charm. "In fact, I came here just to pick up the car and then leave." "No need for gratitude. Let's leave now," Qin Fan suggested. Ning Rushuan nodded reluctantly, realizing they had no signal to call for assistance. "We have to get out of here," she reluctantly admitted. As she spoke, a series of car horns sounded, and several off-road vehicles approached from the mountain road. A man in his 50s, accompanied by members of the Phoenix Hall, emerged from the vehicles. This man exuded a dignified air, his presence commanding respect, an evident figure of authority with formidable strength. Ning Dalong addressed him as the White Master, or White E, the second figure of the Phoenix Hall. "White Master, you're too late," Ning Dalong greeted with dissatisfaction. Ignoring Ning Dalong, White E turned to Ning Rushuan. "Sha Ning, are you alright?" "Uncle Bai, I'm fine, but Uncle Long is seriously injured, and several of my guards are dead," Ning Rushuan replied. "These are overseas assassins, powerful ones. Some are even masters of the innate realm," Ning Dalong added. "How did these overseas assassins infiltrate, and why did they come to assassinate Xiao Ning?" White E inquired. "They must be from Zhou Dajiang. But how did they know Mrs. whereabouts?" "Mrs. movements are usually protected by multiple vehicles, yet they managed to track her here and launch a prepared attack," Ning Dalong explained. Only a few people knew Ning Rushuan's whereabouts each time she ventured out, making the situation even more perplexing. White Yi's eyes narrowed, his expression turning cold. "I was indeed careless today, but thanks to Qin Fan, the situation wasn't worse," Ning Rushuan acknowledged. "Qin Fan?" White Yi's narrowed gaze shifted to Qin Fan, recognizing him. "Qin Fan was the one who had defeated his son and disciplined his disciple. Did he save you?" White Yi asked Ning Rushuan. "Yes," Ning Rushuan confirmed. "Seize him!" White Yi suddenly commanded. "Anyone who dares to resist will be killed on the spot." "What are you doing, Uncle Bai?" Ning Rushuan's expression changed. "Xiao Ning, your whereabouts were exposed by him. He's in league with these assassins." White Yi accused Qin Fan coldly. Upon hearing this, Ning Rushuan and Ning Dalong regarded White Yi as if he were a fool. With Qin Fan's strength, killing her would have been easy, there was no need for such elaborate schemes. Qin Fan's deliberate statement was obvious. "So, Uncle Bai, what do you intend to do?" Ning Rushuan asked calmly. "Anyone threatening Xiao Ning's safety must die," White Yi declared, his gaze fixed on Qin Fan with murderous intent. "Understood," Qin Fan replied calmly. "You, facing death with such composure. But even if you're composed, you will die." White Yi's face twisted into a grimace. "Now, I'll snap your neck." But as soon as he spoke, his expression changed, as did the expressions of everyone else. Qin Fan had already seized Whitey by the neck. "This is what you've brought upon yourself," he said calmly. With a crisp snap, Qin Fan broke Whitey's neck, killing him instantly. The spectators felt their scalps tingle and their spines chill. Whitey was a top expert of the Phoenix Hall, a master of the innate realm, ranked 32nd on the list of prenatal experts. Yet now, he had been killed like a chicken by Qin Fan. It was too shocking. "I killed him," Qin Fan said casually, tossing Whitey's body aside. Turning to Ning Ruxuan, he asked, "What's your plan?" Ning Ruxuan looked at Qin Fan, smiling faintly. 100 Whiteys aren't as good as you." The spectators were taken aback. It almost sounded like a declaration of love. Moreover, Whitey was the true traitor. "His death is no loss," Ning Ruxuan continued, astonishing everyone with her unexpected boldness. Chapter 64, 50,000 isn't enough, it's 500,000. After saving Ning Ruxuan, Qin Fan didn't delve further into the matter. Instead, he exchanged a few words with Ning Ruxuan and then drove off in his modest car to find Xiang Shui. Once in the car, Qin Fan dialed Xiang Shui's number. "Qin, big brother." Xiang Shui's joyful voice immediately greeted him over the phone. "Where are you?" "I'll come pick you up," Qin Fan said. "I'm at my mom's shop," Xiang Shui replied promptly. "Alright, I'll come find you right away," Qin Fan responded before starting the car to head towards Xiang Shui's location. About half an hour later, Qin Fan parked the car and entered An Zhang's shop, where he found Xiang Shui assisting diligently. "Qin, big brother." Upon seeing Qin Fan, Xiang Shui's face lit up with a smile. "Qin, big brother, wait a moment, let me help my mom tidy up, and then I'll leave with you." Qin Fan nodded and found a chair to sit, waiting for Xiang Shui. "Oh my, Xiang Shui, how can you make someone wait? Go quickly, how can you let little Qin wait?" An Zhang warmly greeted upon seeing Qin Fan's arrival. She had learned from Xiang Shui that Qin Fan could cure her daughter's illness, so she held him in high regard. "Mom, I'll be done soon," Xiang Shui replied. "You child, I can manage the shop," An Zhang said as she took over Xiang Shui's tasks. "You should go." "All right." Xiang Shui could only acquiesce. "Brother Chang is here." Just then, a loud voice pierced the previously bustling street of the urban village Snack Street. Upon hearing Brother Chang is here, Aunt Chang's face paled, and she hurriedly urged, "Hurry, go out with little Qin." "Mom, what's wrong?" Xiang Shui looked puzzled at her mother's sudden urgency. "Little Qin, take Xiang Shui out now," Aunt Zhang said urgently to Qin Fan, her tone anxious. "Mom, you're definitely hiding something from me," Xiang Shui immediately sensed and questioned her mother's urgency at the same time. Qin Fan glanced outside and saw several brazen young men swaggering towards them. Leading the group was Brother Chang, with a cigarette dangling from his mouth, disdainfully eyeing everyone present. It seemed that no one on this street met his standards. Behind him, another person flaunted a QR code for payment, swaggering and brandishing it in front of the stalls and shops they passed. The stall owners reluctantly took out their phones to scan the code and make the payment. "Mom, isn't that cousin Zhang Yang? What are they doing?" Xiang Shui noticed, not only observing Zhang Yang but also the person holding the QR code, who happened to be her cousin. "They're collecting protection fees." "Don't worry about it. Go play with little Qin quickly," Aunt Zhang urged. "This isn't a protection fee, it's extortion, it's robbery, it's illegal," Xiang Shui said angrily. At this moment, Brother Chang's group arrived at the fruit stall opposite Xiang Shui's shop and demanded money. An argument ensued between a slender middle-aged man who owned the stall and Brother Chang. In the end, Zhang Yang kicked the man and slapped him hard across the face. The fruit stall was overturned, and the fruit trampled by the group. Finally, the man's wife handed over a stack of money, and the altercation ceased. "Do you know who we are? Have you heard of Tiger Lord in Zhangchang? We're his people. If you don't want to die, hand over the money obediently. Understand?" After receiving the money, Zhang Yang continued to swagger and even groped the man's wife. "This is outrageous." Xiang Shui gritted her teeth at the sight. Qin Fan narrowed his eyes slightly, observing as the group now approached them. Brother Chang walked into the shop and was immediately attracted by Xiang Shui's innocence and beauty, his eyes lighting up. Zhang Yang quickly noticed Brother Chang's interest and walked over with a smile. "Uncle, you're still running the shop, so hardworking. Why don't you go back early?" His smile was warm, devoid of the arrogance he had displayed moments ago, appearing instead as a caring nephew to his aunt. Aunt Zhang didn't know how to respond to this scene. Cousin, you shouldn't be so excessive. Xiang Shui said angrily. Little cousin, you're here too? I thought you were still in the hospital. Turns out you're all better now, looking so lively and pretty. Zhang Yang smiled at Xiang Shui. Are you helping Auntie run the shop? You've just recovered from your illness, you shouldn't be out. You should go back and rest. How about this, to let you and your mother go back early, cousin will take the lead today and collect a protection fee of 50,000, Zhang Yang suggested. You see, my cousin is so considerate. I'm lucky to have such a good cousin, Zhang Yang said generously, as if he were an affectionate nephew. 50,000, how can it be 50,000? Wasn't it always 500? Aunt Jean was immediately flustered upon hearing this. She only earned 5,000 a month from the shop, this was genuine robbery. Auntie, I know about your shop's business. It's doing well. Even with a 50,000 fee, I've given you a. Chapter 65, A Favor to Attend. Upon concluding his conversation, Qin Fan terminated the call, turning to Brother Chang and Zhang Yang. Please wait a moment. The master will deliver 500,000 here. Brother Chang and Zhang Yang, upon hearing Qin Fan's voice, snapped back to attention. You dare to toy with me using the master's name? Are you seeking death? Zhang Yang erupted into a tirade upon regaining his senses. Knowing the master, would he deign to dine in this shoddy establishment? Are you mocking him? Who are you, daring to cause trouble here? If you don't produce the 500,000 today, this matter won't be settled. Brother Chang's eyes gleamed maliciously as he stared at Qin Fan, while the other henchmen flexed their muscles, poised to strike at any moment. Suddenly, Brother Chang's phone rang. He hastily retrieved it, his surprise evident upon seeing the name displayed. Brother Biao. Are you at the urban village snack street? Brother Biao's voice rumbled lowly. Yes, Brother Biao, your insight is truly vast. I'm here collecting management fees, Brother Chang promptly responded. Wait there, I'll deliver 500,000 to you. Brother Biao snorted coldly before ending the call. Upon hearing this, Brother Chang stared blankly at Qin Fan, holding his phone now silent. Brother Chang, what's wrong? Zhang Yang observed Brother Chang's dazed expression with curiosity. Brother Chang, trembling, throat parched, managed to force out, Who are you? A friend of Xiang Shui's, Qin Fan replied calmly. Rest assured, the 500,000 will be in your hands shortly. Boom! Brother Chang could no longer withstand the pressure, dropping to his knees, tearfully pleading, I'm sorry. Brother Chang had no idea who Qin Fan was at this moment, but the recent call from Brother Biao made him certain, the man before him was not someone he could provoke. Brother Chang, what's wrong? What's happening? Why are you kneeling? Zhang Yang was bewildered by the scene unfolding before him. Not only him, everyone was baffled. Moments ago, Brother Chang, brimming with aggression, now knelt before Qin Fan. All of you kneel and apologize to this gentleman. Brother Chang thundered. The others were dumbfounded, still not understanding. Hurry up and kneel, or I'll break your legs. Brother Chang shouted again. Upon hearing this, they dared not refuse, promptly dropping to their knees. Sir, we were blind to Mount Tai, please forgive us. Brother Chang pleaded with Qin Fan as he knelt, the others following suit. I don't know why they're kneeling, Qin Fan remarked casually. Following his words, a burly figure hurried into the shop. He was none other than Biao, the enforcer beside Xiao Hu. There was no need for Qin Fan to say anything, Biao knew him, and he recognized Xiang Shui as well, the girl from the Jiangtian Hotel. Biao's arrival caused a change in Brother Chang and his crew's expressions. Of course, they knew Biao. In reality, they weren't affiliated with Xiao Hu at all, people of their level would never meet Xiao Hu. Their true patron was Biao. And now, their patron, their boss Biao, was bowing and apologizing fervently to Qin Fan. Mr. Qin, it's my fault for not disciplining my subordinates properly. Please forgive me. When Qin Fan called Xiao Hu, he was baffled, but he knew for sure that one of his men had offended Qin Fan, so he promptly contacted Biao. Biao had been indulging with women when he received the message, and upon hearing it, even his libido was stunted, he rushed over as fast as he could. Who was Qin Fan? He was practically an immortal being. Even Xiao Hu wouldn't dare to offend him. If he came any later, he'd be in deep trouble. Why apologize to me? Apologize to Xiang Shui and Miss Zhang. This isn't my establishment, Qin Fan stated. Upon hearing this, Diao proceeded to kick Brother Chang and his cohorts fiercely, eliciting cries of pain. While kicking, Diao cursed furiously, apologized to Miss Xiang and Miss Shang, and if forgiveness isn't granted, I'll break your legs. Upon hearing this, they all turned to Xiang Shui and Zhang, begging desperately. Xiang Shui and Zhang were at a loss. They, a mother and daughter, had never experienced such a scene before. Mr. Qin, what? What? Zhang was truly at a loss for words. Qin, I. Xiang Shui stuttered. If you have any requests, feel free to speak, Qin Fan said to Xiang Shui. Upon hearing this, Xiang Shui immediately understood Qin Fan's meaning. You all, get up. Return the money collected and compensate where necessary. Understood? Qin Fan interjected. Yes, understood. Brother Chang's group echoed an agreement before scrambling out of the shop, refunding money and making reparations on the street. Mr. Qin, please look at this. Diao approached Qin Fan timidly after they left, his voice trembling. Remember this place, it belongs to my friend. If anything happens, I won't look for anyone else but you, understand? Qin Fan stated to Biao. Biao broke out in cold sweat, nodding repeatedly. Yes, I promise this place will be trouble-free. Xiang Shui, we should go. Without paying further attention to Biao, Qin Fan bid farewell to Xiang Shui and the still-stunned Zhang, then boarded his Fuda car and departed from the snack street. After Qin Fan and Xiang Shui left, the snack street erupted in chaos. Miss Shang, your daughter has found an excellent boyfriend, he's amazing. Yes, absolutely amazing. That Brother Chang won't dare to come again this time. The people on the snack street gathered at Zhang's shop, all voicing their opinions. The gang of ruffians had oppressed them, making their lives miserable. Now, with one phone call from Zhang's daughter's boyfriend, they refunded all the money and wouldn't dare to come again. Meanwhile, Zhang remained utterly bewildered. Qin Fan was Lin Qingyan's boyfriend, not Xiang Shui's. But this Qin Fan was truly formidable. Chapter 66, Unveiling the Green. To assist, Mr. Qin? Xiang Shui paused momentarily upon hearing Qin Fan's words, then inquired, here? Yes, I previously mentioned helping me, and now I've thought of something. Qin Fan nodded. Is Mr. Qin asking for my expertise in antique appraisal? Xiang Shui's eyes sparkled with excitement upon confirming Qin Fan's intentions. Antique appraisal? This time, it was Qin Fan's turn to pause, then he shook his head. No. Not antique appraisal? Xiang Shui's expression fell slightly. Observing Xiang Shui's disappointment, Qin Fan reassured her, rest assured, you'll be compensated. That's not what I meant. Xiang Shui quickly clarified. Come with me. Qin Fan instructed Xiang Shui. All right. Xiang Shui nodded. Subsequently, the two entered Jiangqing's antique street. Though Jiangqing wasn't vast, the antique street remained bustling, especially in the afternoon, with a steady stream of visitors. Soon, they arrived at the Jade District. Mr. Qin, are you planning to buy jade? Xiang Shui asked. Do you know about stone gambling? Qin Fan inquired. Yes, it's where raw stones are cut open to reveal whether there are valuable jade inside. Xiang Shui nodded in understanding. I need you to help me purchase some premium jade stones. Qin Fan stated to Xiang Shui. Xiang Shui was taken aback by this request, hastily shaking her head. I can't do that, I'm not knowledgeable about it. It's alright, just follow my instructions. Qin Fan reassured her. Afterwards, he whispered a few words in Xiang Shui's ear, informing her of what to do later. Is that all? Xiang Shui looked at Qin Fan with surprise. Yes. Qin Fan nodded. You'll understand later. Upon hearing Qin Fan's words, Xiang Shui felt a bit uneasy, afraid that she might mess things up for Qin Fan, but she gathered her courage and entered the Jade District with him. Once inside, Qin Fan led Xiang Shui around the Jade District aimlessly for several rounds. Inside the Jade District, the atmosphere was lively. There's a saying in stone gambling, one cut poor, one cut rich, one cut even splits the cloth, so there were many individuals with the mentality of getting rich quick gathered here. After a few rounds, Qin Fan turned to Xiang Shui and asked, have you found a target? Xiang Shui nodded. Yes. Then lead the way. Qin Fan instructed. Subsequently, Xiang Shui led Qin Fan to the largest jade shop, Jin Yutang. Inside Jin Yutang, a wealthy middle-aged man was cutting a piece of raw material, while onlookers craned their necks in anticipation to see what would be revealed, creating a tense atmosphere.
It's green again, Mr. Ma is truly amazing.
So impressive, this makes it 4 consecutive times, 4 out of 10. After seeing the raw material, the spectators exclaimed in amazement as another piece of jade was unveiled.
Ah, it's all luck. Whether you win or lose doesn't matter, as long as everyone's enjoying themselves. Mr. Ma laughed heartily. Mr.
Ma, you're happy, but this shop might have to close down. The owner of Jin Yutang had a mournful expression.
Why would your shop close down?
I'll sell all the jade I cut at 20% off to you.
Mr. Ma chuckled.
Upon hearing this, the shop owner's expression brightened.
Then I must thank Mr. Ma for taking care of us.
At this moment, Xin Fan and Xiang Shui walked in.
The owner of Jin Yutang promptly greeted them, asking, "Are you here to buy jade or gamble on stones?" "Stone gambling." Xin Fan immediately replied. "In that case, this way."
The shop owner pointed to a sign inside the shop. The sign read, "One cut poor, one cut rich, one cut even splits the cloth. Immortal gods find it hard to judge jade."
Have you both thought this through? This isn't a joke. When it's time to stop, you must stop, don't get carried away. The shop owner cautioned Xin Fan and Xiang Shui.
Sir, you're quite considerate, even advising against stone gambling. Xin Fan smiled in response. No one's money comes easily. We've been in business in Jiangqing for over 30 years, we're an old establishment, so we can't deceive our customers. The shop owner spoke candidly.
Sir, what are the prices? Xin Fan inquired.
Raw materials with a layer of covering start at 500 per caddy, ones with small windows start at 5,000 per caddy, and fully transparent materials start at 50,000 per caddy.
The shop owner introduced. So expensive.
Xiang Shui exclaimed upon hearing the prices. Just one stone here could cover her living expenses for a year in university.
Don't worry. Xin Fan reassured Xiang Shui. Go ahead and pick, I'll handle the finances.
Upon hearing Xin Fan's assurance, Xiang Shui clenched her fists, psyching herself up, then began browsing the shop.
Miss, this one is quite nice, you should consider it. Mr.
Ma, the owner, smiled and pointed to a stone, speaking up.
Mr. Ma, that's not fair. The shop owner became anxious.
I'm just making a suggestion because she's a beginner. Besides, whether the young lady listens is another matter.
Mr. Ma chuckled. Mr. Ma is an expert in stone gambling, you should listen to him. Yes, if you don't choose, I might choose it instead. The surrounding spectators were eager to try their luck too.
Upon hearing this, Xiang Shui looked at the stone indicated by Mr.
Ma then shook her head, ignoring it.
Observing this scene, Xin Fan nodded slightly. After a moment, Xiang Shui finally made her selection, choosing 2 pieces from a pile of raw materials.
Xin, I've made my choice.
Xiang Shui spoke to Xin Fan after making her selection.
Cut them, please. Xin Fan immediately requested.
Miss, these raw materials are cheap, but the chance of finding valuable jade is very low.
The shop owner cautioned. Yes, it's like buying lottery tickets, you might be better off listening to Mr. Ma. Mr. Ma really is an expert, don't miss out. The spectators began advising Xiang Shui.
Xiang Shui hesitated for a moment. Miss, I see you're a beginner, you might want to choose more carefully.
The shop owner chimed in. Xiang Shui, believe in yourself. Xin Fan encouraged Xiang Shui. I'll choose these 2.
With Xin Fan's encouragement, Xiang Shui made her final decision.
All right.
The shop owner agreed and weighed the stones selected by Xiang Shui, 54 caddies in total, let's call it 50 caddies.
That'll be 25,000 yuan. Xin Fan promptly made the payment online. Proceed with the cutting.
After completing the payment, the shop owner didn't hesitate, immediately instructing the professional craftsman in the shop to start cutting the stones. As the craftsman picked up one of the stones and began cutting, halfway through, nothing was revealed.
Instantly, laughter filled the shop, as this outcome was expected by many. See, I told you so. It's a learning experience. These comments were made by the onlookers. However, the craftsman cutting the stone suddenly stopped and his face showed astonishment. Unable to contain himself, he exclaimed, "It's green!"
Chapter 67, The Special Use of the Lunar Spirit Body.
The exclamation of the stone-cutting master echoed, drawing everyone's attention to the piece of raw material that had been cut open. Within that raw material, a sparkling and translucent emerald color truly emerged.
This is ice type.
Old pit ice type.
My goodness, this is like winning the lottery. Such incredible luck.
Everyone wore expressions of astonishment, while the shop owner's face lit up with excitement, his expression changing constantly as he spoke. This.
Looking at the size, the market value is at least 500,000.
At this moment, Xiang Shui was also stunned, covering her mouth, her expression incredulous.
Tens of thousands spent, now turning into 500,000? Wasn't this too quick? Cut the other piece as well.
Qin Fan spoke casually.
Upon hearing Qin Fan's words, everyone burst into laughter. Can lightning strike twice?
If it turns green again, I'll do a handstand and defecate.
Many people expressed their disbelief, not expecting the second piece to turn green.
Qin Fan, however, calmly addressed the stone-cutting master. Proceed. The stone-cutting master was also excited and immediately picked up the second piece of stone to cut. This time, the cutting was done with exceptional care, while the spectators stretched their necks, eagerly awaiting the outcome. As the stone-cutting master made the first cut, his face suddenly changed.
How? How is this possible?
My goodness, green appeared after just one layer of skin was cut. Many people, upon seeing the first cut made by the master, widened their eyes, some even clutching their heads in disbelief. The quality of the green revealed was even higher this time, lush and precious, resembling imperial green. In an instant, the stone-cutting master's hands trembled slightly. He had been cutting stones for decades and had never cut imperial green before. This time, he cut with extreme caution. When the entire piece of material was cut, and the jade inside was revealed to everyone, the scene became extremely quiet, so quiet that even the sound of heartbeats could be heard clearly. What lay before them was none other than ice-type imperial green. Seeing the reactions of the crowd, Xiang Shui's heartbeat accelerated continuously, sensing that this jade might be extremely valuable.
Boss, what's the price for this?
Qin Fan asked with a smile.
Roughly. Tens of millions, I'm not very sure.
This ice-type imperial green, I've only seen it online before, this is the first time seeing it in person. The shop owner swallowed hard, his face turning pale, his voice trembling.
Xiang Shui nearly fainted upon hearing this price. From 500,000 earlier, it now jumped straight to tens of millions?
She came from a poor family, forget hundreds of thousands, she hadn't even seen tens of thousands before, and now it was tens of millions. Are you selling this piece of jade?
I'm willing to offer a high price. Mr. Ma suddenly spoke up.
Not for sale, I'll use it myself, Qin Fan replied. Jade was the most basic material for cultivators to refine artifacts, especially this kind of top-quality jade, containing jade marrow. In a world with scarce spiritual energy like Earth, such refining materials were truly rare.
Qin Fan naturally couldn't sell it. Upon hearing this, Mr. Ma's face immediately darkened. Xiang Shui, pick a few more, Qin Fan instructed Xiang Shui.
Okay.
Xiang Shui now felt confident.
Big Brother Qin's method really worked.
Meanwhile, the people from Jin Yutang looked green with envy.
Xiang Shui naturally disregarded them. This time, she was even more meticulous than before, even reaching out to touch. Before long, she selected 3 more pieces, one of which was priced at 11,000 per caddy. With a small window she didn't choose the one Mr.
Ma recommended earlier.
Qin Fan readily paid over 300,000.
After the 3 pieces were all cut, the entire crowd was dumbfounded.
All 3 pieces were of high quality. After these 3 pieces were cut, the shop owner's face turned somewhat pale, then he trembled as he spoke, "We're closing for the day.
This business can't go on."
Clearly, the shop owner had realized that if the business continued, the shop would likely go bankrupt.
Other spectators naturally understood too.
If they continued, everything in the shop might be cut by Xiang Shui. So, the onlookers began to leave one after another. "Please have a seat, I'll have the jade wrapped up for both of you."
The boss spoke warmly to Qin Fan and Xiang Shui, then walked back inside.
Qin Fan naturally wasn't worried and sat down with Xiang Shui to find shares.
Just as they sat down, Qin Fan's phone rang, a WeChat message from Jiang Qingning. He then sent a message to say they were at Jin Yutang.
Big brother Qin, did I go too far?
This shop must have lost a lot, Xiang Shui said anxiously, sitting beside Qin Fan, her excitement from before now turning into unease. Running a business involves gains and losses, it's normal, Qin Fan replied.
Xiang Shui nodded, then asked, but I don't understand, why can your method tell whether there's something inside? Can't others do it?
Qin Fan smiled at her words and explained, of course others can't.
That's your uniqueness.
Qin Fan's method for Xiang Shui was simple, using the sensitivity of her lunar spirit body to Yin Qi to perceive these raw materials.
Of course, Qin Fan didn't say it was the lunar spirit body and Yin Qi.
He simply told Xiang Shui to sense which piece of raw material was coldest and choose that one. Because these jade mines were deep underground, Yin Qi gathered inside them. Jade naturally absorbed this Yin Qi, especially high-quality jade, which absorbed it even more so. For Xiang Shui, it was quite simple. With the strong perception of her lunar spirit body to Yin Qi, the colder the sensation, the higher the quality of the jade. Of course, with Qin Fan's spiritual sense, he could actually tell if there was anything inside with just a scan. Claims like what immortal gods find hard to determine in jade were nonsense. The reason Qin Fan let Xiang Shui do it was to let her try sensing spiritual energy, laying the foundation for her future cultivation, while also testing the abilities of her lunar spirit body in sensing spiritual energy. And the results were excellent.
Really?
Xiang Shui's eyes lit up at his words.
Of course, you can see the results, Qin Fan replied.
Thank you, big brother Qin, Xiang Shui said with a smile, looking at Qin Fan.
Thank me for what? You chose it yourself.
Aside from the Imperial Green, all the money from the other sales will be yours later, Qin Fan said upon hearing this. Xiang Shui was stunned, her heart feeling like it was about to leap out. The Imperial Green was worth tens of millions, and the other three pieces were priced by the shop at least 3 to 4 million each. At home, because of her illness, they owed hundreds of thousands, but now, in just an afternoon, she had become a millionaire. Now, big brother Qin in her eyes wasn't just a divine doctor, he was a god of wealth.
How should I address you both?
At this moment, the shop owner walked out, smiling as he asked the two. Surname Qin, she's surnamed Xiang, Qin Fan replied.
Mr. Qin, Miss Xiang, here's the thing.
Our Jin Yutang offers high-priced purchases of jade. That piece of Imperial Green, I asked the boss, he said he can buy it for 20 million.
I wonder if the shop owner said. No need, I'm not selling it. Qin Fan replied. Mr.
Qin, 20 million is definitely a sincere price, exceeding the market value. I see you two are young, you must need money, it's better to consider.
The shop owner spoke with a smile that didn't reach his eyes, and at the same time, 5 tall and burly men walked over, blocking the door, not allowing the two to leave. Chapter 68, the affiliation between the Jiang family and Mr.
Qin. Upon seeing the burly men, Xiang Shui's countenance shifted, and she quickly approached Qin Fan.
Are you intending to engage in coercion and sale by force? Qin Fan spoke calmly as ever. We are engaged in legitimate business. How could we resort to such tactics?
I merely wish to remind you that your 4 pieces of jade are still in our shop, the shop owner said with a smile.
And? Qin Fan inquired.
Since neither of you has signed any documents with our shop, the ownership of those 4 pieces of jade remains uncertain, the shop owner continued. If it's uncertain, then it would only lead to lawsuits and legal battles, which would undoubtedly be time-consuming and costly. Hence, it might be more beneficial to sell them to us for 20 million, Qin Fan remarked.
Clap. 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 Qin Fan applauded the shop owner upon hearing this impressive tactic. You must have used it numerous times before, haven't you? The shop owner chuckled. So, do you agree? Agree? Qin Fan chuckled lightly. Mr. Ma, is this how you conduct your business affairs?
Upon hearing this, the shop owner was momentarily stunned.
After a while, Mr. Ma walked out from behind, his expression extremely dark as he spoke. You knew all along? You people deceive those inexperienced in the ways of the world. But trying to deceive me? You're still too naive, Qin Fan said as he poured himself a cup of tea. Xiang Shui was astonished. Brother Qin, what's going on? Is this Mr. Ma colluding with Jin Yutang?
Yes, this Mr.
Ma is the owner of this shop.
Qin Fan confirmed, but he was just here. Xiang Shui felt her mind struggling to keep up.
Everyone in the shop, except us, is in on it, Qin Fan said calmly. Xiang Shui was dumbfounded, feeling her worldview collapse in an instant. She had previously thought highly of Mr. Ma, only to realize he was a fraud. The world truly was treacherous. Qin Fan had attended countless gatherings in the cultivation world and had visited numerous shops owned by cultivators. Those cultivators were all astute individuals who had cultivated for hundreds of years. When it came to scheming, they were even more ruthless than those here. Cultivators often used divine abilities to alter their appearances, employed illusions, and even curses. It could be said that their deceptive methods were diverse and cunning. Compared to the tricks Qin Fan had encountered in the cultivation world, the tactics of Jin Yutang were child's play. Mr. Ma, you really are hiding your true colors. Mr. Ma's eyes narrowed slightly as he spoke. Enough with your petty tricks in front of me. Speak your mind, Qin Fan said. Mr. Qin, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ma Badong. People in Jiang City should be familiar with me. The Ma family has been engaged in the business of antiques, curios, and jade in Jiang City for generations. May I inquire about your origins? Are you from one of the prominent families outside Jiang City? Ma Badong was naturally shrewd. Qin Fan appeared confident, so he needed to ascertain Qin Fan's identity. The Qin family did not exist in Jiang City, nor did it in the Jiangnan region. However, within Xia country, there was indeed a prominent family surnamed Qin, the Qin family, one of the 5 great families of Xia country. If Qin Fan truly belonged to the Qin family from the capital, Ma Badong would immediately concede and perhaps even offer compensation. But the likelihood of that was low. I am not from any prominent family. I am simply Qin Fan from Jiang City. Your assumptions about prestigious families have nothing to do with me, Qin Fan replied casually. Ma Badong looked at Qin Fan's calm demeanor and felt uncertain. Was Qin Fan referring to that family or that power? However, no matter how hard he thought, he couldn't figure out Qin Fan's background. Ma Badong smiled and said, well, Mr. Qin, we are also engaged in legitimate business. We can offer another 5 million. Forget about it. I'm not selling, Qin Fan replied promptly. Then, I'm afraid you won't be able to leave with those jade stones so easily today. So, I suggest you give it some more thought, Ma Badong said coldly. At the same time, he signaled with his eyes. The burly men immediately clenched their fists, preparing to take action. Ding dong. Suddenly, the doorbell inside Jin Yutang rang. Hearing the doorbell, Ma Badong was stunned. The shop had already closed. Who could be coming now? Open the door, quickly. A voice called out from outside. Then, shouting could be heard from outside. Ma Badong heard this and immediately signaled to temporarily halt and asked the shop owner to open the door. The shop owner hurried over to open the door, and then he saw a remarkably attractive woman accompanied by a man in a suit. Upon seeing the door open, the two of them paid no attention and walked straight into the shop. What are you doing? We've already closed. Leave quickly. The shop owner shouted urgently. Silence. However, Ma Butong's face changed drastically upon seeing these two people, and he shouted loudly before quickly walking over to greet them. Oh, Miss Jiang, what a rare guest. How come you have the time to visit Jin Yutang? Ma Badong spoke with extreme humility upon seeing the two. The shop owner, upon seeing Ma Butong's deferential attitude and hearing the address, immediately turned pale. He knew who these two people were. Miss Jiang was none other than the young lady of the Jiang family. The Jiang family was the wealthiest family in Jiang City, with assets totaling in the billions. They were on an entirely different level compared to the Ma family, whose assets were only in the tens of millions. Jiang Qingning entered with Chen Yao and saw Qin Fan sitting inside, paying no attention to Ma Badong. She walked briskly to Qin Fan's side. Qin Fan, Jiang Qingning called out to Qin Fan, sounding somewhat intimate. Since the incident at the villa, Jiang Qingning no longer addressed Qin Fan as Mr. Qin but by his name, showing her confidence. Ma Badong broke out in a cold sweat upon seeing Jiang Qingning's attitude towards Qin Fan. He instantly understood that Qin Fan was affiliated with the Jiang family. If the Jiang family wanted to crush a family like his, they could easily do so. Immediately, he took a step forward and spoke to Qin Fan. I didn't expect Mr. Qin to be affiliated with the Jiang family. I have truly underestimated the situation. I am not affiliated with the Jiang family, Qin Fan said calmly. Ma Badong was momentarily taken aback.
Not affiliated with the Jiang family? What did that mean? Mr. Qin is under the Jiang family's protection.
Chen Yao gritted his teeth and spoke. As soon as Chen Yao said this, Ma Badong and his associates were momentarily stunned and looked towards Jiang Qingning.
However, Jiang Qingning did not refute Chen Yao's words, apparently tacitly agreeing with him. Qin Fan affiliated with the Jiang family? What a joke!
The Jiang family didn't need Qin Fan's protection, and Qin Fan might not even regard the Jiang family highly. To say that the Jiang family was under Qin Fan's protection was, in fact, elevating them.
Qin Fan might even refuse.
However, Qin Fan did not deny it at the moment.
This eased Jiang Qingning and Chen Yao's minds. Have you offended Mr. Qin? Jiang Qingning asked coldly. Bang!
Ma Badong didn't hesitate and immediately knelt down, begging Qin Fan, Mr.
Qin, this subordinate has been blind and failed to recognize Mount Tai. I beg Mr. Qin for forgiveness.
Qin Fan looked at Ma Badong and said, You are decisive.
Considering you haven't taken action yet, it's not a major offense. I can give you a way out. Chapter 69, The Challenge Letter.
Upon hearing Qin Fan's words, Ma Badong felt as if he had received a reprieve. He was grateful that he had taken some time to consider and delay his actions earlier.
If he had acted impulsively, it would have been disastrous. May I inquire, Mr. Qin, which path you are referring to? Ma Badong hastily inquired. I will require a large quantity of high-quality jade in the future. Do you understand what I mean? Qin Fan spoke.
Since he and Jiang Qingning were planning to move into a new villa, and he was also cultivating Dao enlightenment, he was uncertain how much time he would need. Therefore, it was essential to prepare for alchemy, refining tools, and setting up formations. Jade artifacts were one of the most basic materials for cultivators, whether for refining tools or setting up formations. Hence, a large quantity of jade artifacts would be necessary. The Ma family was the best channel for Qin Fan to obtain high-quality jade artifacts. Qin Fan had already planned this out upon realizing that Ma Badong was the true owner of Jin Yutang. Originally, he had intended to use force to compel the other party to cooperate.
However, Jiang Qingning's unexpected appearance saved him the trouble of resorting to violence.
Rest assured, Mr.
Qin.
Although my Ma family may not excel in other areas, we are proficient in sourcing high-quality raw materials and jade artifacts. In the future, if there are any fine jade artifacts or raw materials, I will definitely bring them to Mr.
Qin, Ma Badong assured repeatedly.
Don't worry, I won't take advantage of you for nothing.
You've seen Xiang Shue's capabilities.
When the raw materials are delivered, notify Xiang Shue first and have her sort through them. You should understand what profits you will gain then, Qin Fan said calmly. Upon hearing Qin Fan's words, Ma Butong's expression changed.
Xiang Shue's discernment was truly intimidating. If all the raw materials were sorted by Xiang Shue before being processed, the profits would undoubtedly increase exponentially. May I inquire, Mr. Qin, what level of profit are you expecting? Ma Badong asked tentatively.
He anticipated that as long as he could obtain a 30% profit, it would be enough for him to prosper. I only need the Emperor's green jade, and as for the rest, a 50-50 split will suffice, Qin Fan replied.
Ma Badong was overjoyed at this. A 50% split was like a windfall for him. Mr. Qin, rest assured, I will not disappoint you, Ma Badong quickly reassured. Qin Fan nodded in satisfaction, then turned to Jiang Qingning and said, Let's go.
Their personal visit indicated something important was afoot, so it was time for them to leave. Subsequently, Qin Fan and his entourage departed from Jin Yutang.
Xiang Shue, I won't be able to help you with your treatment tonight.
Let's schedule it for a few days later when I'm fully prepared, Qin Fan apologized to Xiang Shue after leaving Jin Yutang.
All right.
Xiang Shue, still feeling dazed, only snapped out of it upon hearing his words. This unexpected 5 million felt like a dream come true for her.
Ma Badong, please escort Xiang Shue back and ensure her safety, Qin Fan instructed Ma Badong.
Rest assured.
Ma Badong replied with a smile.
Xiang Shue was a lucky charm, and he had to ensure her safety. Subsequently, Ma Badong personally drove Xiang Shue home, while Qin Fan drove Lin Qingyan's Honda Fit to the Jiangtian Hotel.
He didn't ask Jiang Qingning what the matter was,
but he knew it was likely related to Zhou Dajiang. Soon, Qin Fan arrived with Jiang Qingning at the Jiang family's villa inside. He not only met Jiang Tianxiang but also saw Ning Rushuan, who had just been attacked that morning. At this moment, both Jiang Tianxiang and Ning Rushuan wore extremely solemn expressions.
Mr. Qin, you finally arrived, Jiang Tianxiang greeted Qin Fan as he approached. Mr. Qin.
Ning Rushuan greeted Qin Fan with a shallow smile.
What's the matter that made you all so anxious to find me? Qin Fan immediately asked after sitting down.
Please take a look, Mr. Qin. Jiang Tianxiang handed a letter on the table to Qin Fan.
Qin Fan glanced at it and said, "A challenge letter from Zhou Dajiang?" Jiang Tianxiang and Ning Rushuan nodded.
This couldn't be better. We can report Zhou Dajiang to the Public Security Bureau for arrest, Qin Fan spoke without even looking at the contents. Upon hearing Qin Fan's words, Jiang Tianxiang and the others showed an embarrassed expression.
Mr.
Qin, we did consider reporting Zhou Dajiang to the Public Security Bureau, but the situation isn't that simple. Zhou Dajiang is now affiliated with Huaishanmen.
He issued the challenge to Jiang City on behalf of Huaishanmen, so the authorities can't intervene, Jiang Tianxiang sighed and explained.
Huaishanmen?
Were the attackers on Chao Hu and you from Huaishanmen?
Qin Fan looked at Ning Rushuan and asked.
Ning Rushuan nodded and said, yes, those people were all from Huaishanmen.
However, they were all killed by Mr.
Qin.
As we suffered consecutive losses, Huaishanmen probably finds it troublesome to continue like this.
Hence, they decided to issue a challenge to Jiang City through the Martial Alliance to resolve personal grievances.
As a result, the authorities can't intervene.
Martial Alliance?
What is that?
Qin Fan asked again.
The Martial Alliance, also known as the Martial Arts Union, is a semi-official organization mainly responsible for overseeing ancient martial artists, to prevent them from acting recklessly against ordinary people. Once an ancient martial artist commits a crime, they are usually handed over to the Martial Alliance for handling, unless the ancient martial artist has committed heinous crimes, in which case, the authorities may intervene, Ning Rushuan explained. You could still ask for assistance from the Martial Alliance, Qin Fan suggested. I understand, but the problem is that Zhou Dajiang is backed by Huaishanmen, and the head of Huaishanmen is Hua Tianxing, while Zhou Dajiang is his disciple, Jiang Tianxiang said with a solemn expression. Jiang Qingning and Chen Yao, upon seeing Jiang Tianxiang's solemn expression, knew that Hua Tianxing was definitely extraordinary.
Grandpa, is Hua Tianxing very powerful? Jiang Qingning asked.
Hua Tianxing is an exceptional overseas Chinese with extraordinary talent. He reached the martial sage realm before the age of 40 and established Huaishanmen.
In just over 10 years, it has become a B-level organization, even approaching the A-level.
Jiang Qingning, Jiang Tianxiang began to introduce Hua Tianxing.
B-level, quasi-A-level? What does that mean? Does it mean that Huaishanmen is very powerful? Qin Fan asked.
Mr.
Qin, this is an assessment by various forces. The lowest level is C, and the highest level is the strongest, which is S level. B-level organizations are enough to threaten several cities, while A-level organizations are enough to threaten a country.
At this point, Jiang Tianxiang paused for a moment, then continued, Hua Tianxing was once ranked first on the Profound Gates Earth list. Upon hearing this, Jiang Qingning, Chen Yao, and even Ning Rushuan were stunned.
Chapter 70, Former Earth lists first, Hua Tianxing.
The Profound Gates Earth list, which only admits 100 grandmasters, is a testament to the terrifying prowess possessed by these 100 individuals. Hua Tianxing, as the former top ranker, needs no further introduction. He wholly deserves the title of the Grandmaster's number 1. Furthermore, being the Earth list's top ranker implies that Hua Tianxing might well be capable of challenging a whole nation single-handedly. Whether it's the Jiang family or Ning Rushuan's Qianhuang Hall, they only dominate within the Jiang City area, essentially acting as local overlords. Once they step outside Jiang City, they become easy targets in the eyes of the top families of Xia country. This situation pales in comparison to the influence of Huaishanmen, a formidable force that has already established a fearsome reputation overseas.
Indeed, there's no need for Huaishanmen. With Hua Tianxing alone, he could easily crush both the Jiang family and Qianhuang. Also, hearing about Hua Tianxing's deeds naturally evokes astonishment. Of course, Qin Fan remains unaffected, his demeanor is composed as ever.
Seeing Qin Fan's calm demeanor, the others' admiration for him swells once again, especially Jiang Qingning, whose gaze toward Qin Fan has now shifted. Xin Fan is already a grandmaster at such a young age. If given another decade or so, surpassing Hua Tianxing or even standing on equal footing with him wouldn't be out of the ordinary. Such an outstanding man must be claimed. And this challenge is Hua Tianxing's way of making an appearance. Therefore, the official stance of the Xia country is that this is a matter of the martial world. As long as it doesn't harm the innocent, the authorities will not intervene, leaving it to us to resolve. Zhang Tianxiong spoke with a hint of resignation. Although Hua Tianxing is overseas, with his reputation and the backing of Hu Weishanmen, issuing a challenge to the Zhang family in Qianhuang Hall in Zhang City under his name is a sure bet. Are you worried that Hua Tianxing will personally seek revenge for Zhou Dazhang? Xin Fan ventured a guess. No, even if Hua Tianxing wanted to assist his disciple in seeking revenge, he wouldn't set foot in Xia country, Zhang Tianxiong replied promptly. Oh? Why is that? Xin Fan inquired, intrigued. It's like this. After reaching the Grandmaster realm, Hua Tianxing continuously challenged the top-ranked Grandmasters until he was defeated by a Grandmaster from Xia country, causing him to fall from his throne as the top ranker on the Earth list. He then decided to withdraw from the Earth list and vowed never to set foot in Xia country again unless he advances to the Great Grandmaster realm. So, for the time being, there's no need to worry about him coming to Zhang City, Zhang Tianxiong explained. In that case, what are your concerns? Isn't there the Martial Alliance? According to what you said, the Martial Alliance should have Grandmasters, right? Xin Fan responded. Mr. Xin, do you remember the person who injured Chen Yao? Zhang Tianxiong interjected. Have you found him? Xin Fan inquired. He's named Zhou Leidong, also a disciple of Hua Tianxing. He's at the half-step Grandmaster level and follows Zhou Dazhang's orders, Zhang Tianxiong elaborated. So, I'm worried that after being away for 10 years, Zhou Dazhang, under the guidance of Hua Tianxing, has reached the Grandmaster realm. The martial prowess of Zhang City might be no match for him. That's why I thought of asking you, Mr. Xin. But rest assured, you might not need to take action. We just hope that you'll be there to oversee things when the time comes, Zhang Tianxiong explained. Upon hearing this, Xin Fan understood. By saying oversee things, they meant to be prepared for any eventuality. If something unexpected were to happen, they would need him to step in previously. I promised that I would intervene when needed. So, I agree to this request, Xin Fan affirmed without hesitation. Zhang Tianxiong nodded in acknowledgement and continued. In 7 days, in the afternoon, at the Tinglong Mountain Villa on the outskirts of Jiang City, a martial arts competition will be held to settle the grudge with Zhou Dazhang. Understood, I'll mark it down, and I'll be there, Xin Fan replied, nodding. With that, Xin Fan bid farewell and prepared to leave. Seeing Xin Fan about to leave, both Jiang Qingning and Ning Rushuan stood up, ready to see him off. However, Jiang Qingning preempted them, rushing to Xin Fan's side and saying, I'll escort you. Seeing this, Ning Rushuan frowned slightly but said nothing, choosing to remain seated and continue discussing the events of 7 days later with Zhang Tianxiong. Xin Fan, when you go back, tell Lin Qingyan to be careful during this time, Jiang Qingning suddenly spoke as she escorted Xin Fan. Xin Fan was taken aback. What's going on? He asked. Suddenly, some people from the Zhang family have gone missing, Jiang Qingning explained. Missing? Xin Fan's expression showed surprise. Yes, after Chen Yao was injured, we started investigating, leading us step by step to Zhou Leidong, then Zhou Dazhang, and tonight, we even learned about Hua Tianxing. However, during this time, we discovered that the main members of the Zhang family, such as Zhang Honi and Jiang Wenbin, have all disappeared, Jiang Qingning revealed. Could they be dead? Xin Fan inquired curiously. It's unclear, but the Zhang family's assets in Zhang City have all been taken over, Jiang Qingning continued. By whom? Xin Fan asked. It's a female merchant surnamed Zhong from Huahai City. But her background is definitely not as innocent and simple as it appears on the surface, Jiang Qingning replied. Xin Fan, upon hearing the surname Zhong, suddenly remembered Lin Qingyan's recent efforts to seek cooperation with the Zhong family of Huahai. Could this Zhong be related to the Yuan family? Xin Fan wondered silently. Seeing Xin Fan's expression, Jiang Qingning asked, Do you happen to know this Zhong merchant? I remember you lived in Huahai for many years. I don't know her, Xin Fan replied. Okay, Jiang Qingning responded. Then, Jiang Qingning saw Xin Fan off to his shabby car. Xin Fan returned to Lin Qingyan's villa, already past 10 o'clock in the evening. Upon entering the villa, Xin Fan scanned with his spiritual sense. Mrs. Wang was already asleep, and Lin Qingyan was still working in her room. Xin Fan naturally didn't disturb her.
Once back in his room, Xin Fan immediately began his cultivation practice, attempting to condense his qi. However, after a night passed, there was naturally no significant progress. The next day, Xin Fan came downstairs from the upper floor.
Mrs.
Wang had already prepared breakfast, and Lin Qingyan had gone to the company early, even though it was the weekend.
Xin Fan couldn't help but sigh at the busy life of mortals.
After breakfast, Xin Fan first purchased enough medicinal herbs, then took out his phone to contact Xiang Shui. Since it was the weekend, Xiang Shui would naturally be in the city center village. Xin Fan immediately drove his shabby car to pick up Xiang Shui.
Xiang Shui's boyfriend is here. Thanks to him,
Xiang Shui has really found herself a good boyfriend. After Xin Fan arrived, the people in the vicinity of the city center village all showed expressions of gratitude toward Xin Fan. As for Xiang Shui, upon hearing Xin Fan being referred to as her boyfriend, she blushed furiously.
Shao Qin, you're here.
It just so happens that Shui's birthday is in 2 days.
Could you take her to buy some new clothes?
Aunt Zhang, upon seeing Xin Fan, smiled joyfully and handed 3,000 yuan to Xiang Shui. No need. I can buy clothes myself, Xiang Shui hurriedly declined.
It's okay.
Since it's the weekend, let's buy some clothes. Xin Fan felt it was no big deal, so he spoke up.
Chapter 71, Shopping for Clothes.
Accompanied by Xin Fan, Xiang Shui arrived at the largest shopping center in Jiangchang. Due to the weekend, the shopping center was extremely crowded, with many men accompanying their girlfriends for shopping. Observing the couples around, Xiang Shui's cheeks flushed slightly as she followed Xin Fan through the mall. It felt so much like a date, which made Xiang Shui feel guilty towards her senior sister. However, she was also happy to have Qin Gu accompany her to shop for clothes. The two arrived at the 3rd floor of the mall, where numerous brand clothing stores were located.
Qin Gu, the clothes here are too expensive. Shall we go to the wholesale market instead?
The prices there are much cheaper, around 100 or 200 yuan per piece at most. After wandering around with Xin Fan, Xiang Shui was shocked by the prices of the clothes here. Her family was poor, her mother's monthly income was only 5,000 yuan. The clothes here cost thousands, even tens of thousands, which she couldn't afford.
Didn't you earn 5 million yesterday?
Xin Fan replied upon hearing Xiang Shui's words.
But money shouldn't be spent recklessly. I need to buy a house and a shop for my mom, renovate them, pay for my own education, and maybe even cover medical expenses.
Xiang Shui hesitated, calculating how to spend that money, completely forgetting about buying clothes. Xin Fan chuckled at her words. Xiang Shui had been frugal since childhood, so even with several million given to her, she wouldn't spend it lavishly. Her first thought would be to buy a house to settle down, not expensive clothes. Let's continue browsing, Xin Fan said afterwards. All right, Xiang Shui replied, feeling a bit embarrassed. The two continued to stroll through the mall. Suddenly, in front of an extremely exquisite boutique, Xiang Shui stopped in her tracks, her gaze fixed on the window display mannequin. The mannequin was dressed in a snow-green dress with a V-neck line, simple waistband, giving it a minimalist and pure look.
Xiang Shui's eyes lit up upon seeing the dress.
Let's go inside and take a look, Xin Fan suggested. But this store looks expensive, Xiang Shui shook her head. It doesn't cost anything to look, and besides, you're not short on money. I can even buy it for you if you like, Xin Fan replied somewhat exasperatedly.
Xiang Shui nodded and then walked into the boutique.
The store salesperson was chatting with someone and, seeing Xin Fan and Xiang Shui, didn't come forward to greet them but continued chatting. Xin Fan didn't mind and led Xiang Shui towards the dress she had set her eyes on. Just then, a handsome couple walked in. The woman carried an expensive Gucci bag, with delicate makeup and a beautiful diamond necklace, while the man wore an expensive Armani shirt, sporting a noble appearance with his slicked back hair.
Upon seeing these two enter, the salesperson warmly welcomed them. Welcome, sir and madam. Is there anything you need?
Show me the new arrivals, the woman said lightly. Right this way, please. Upon hearing this, Xiang Shui unconsciously glanced over.
Su Chanshan cousin?
Xiang Shui exclaimed with joy upon seeing the woman beside her. Is it really you? The woman glanced at Xiang Shui upon hearing her voice, furrowed her brows slightly, and reluctantly replied, yes.
It's really you. It's great to see you. After you and aunt and uncle left, we had no news at all.
Both my mom and I missed you so much.
I didn't expect to meet you here, Xiang Shui said with immense joy upon hearing Su Chanshan's response.
Chanshan, who is she? The man's eyes lit up upon seeing Xiang Shui, drawn to her innocence and beauty. Su Chanshan sighed and reluctantly introduced, didn't I tell you before? When my parents were out making money, and couldn't take care of me, I lived at my aunt's house, right?
She's my aunt's daughter, my cousin.
Su Chanshan was 2 years older than Xiang Shui.
Her family was relatively poor before, so her parents entrusted her to Xiang Shui's mother, Zhang Xuefen, for 7 years.
Xiang Shui and Su Chanshan lived together for 7 years. 4 years ago, Su Chanshan's parents earned money and bought a house in Zhangcheng, then took Su Chanshan away.
Having lived together for 7 years, and Zhang Xuefen taking care of them for 7 years, both Xiang Shui and Zhang Xuefen naturally had a good relationship with Su Chanshan. However, after Su Chanshan left, Zhang Xuefen and Xiang Shui were unable to contact Su Chanshan and her parents.
Su Chanshan's family never visited them again. Xiang Shui thought Su Chanshan's family had left Jiangcheng, but she didn't expect to meet them here. As for why Su Chanshan's family couldn't be contacted, the reason was simple. Su Chanshan's parents looked down on Zhang Xuefen's poverty and were afraid that Zhang Xuefen would ask them for a lion's share of money, especially since Xiang Shui was ill and needed a large sum of money for treatment. So, Su Chanshan's family was even less willing to contact Xiang Shui's family. Of course, Xiang Shui and Zhang Xuefen were unaware of all this.
Oh, she's your seriously ill cousin, the man responded.
Xiang Shui, are you better? You look quite well? Su Chanshan asked Xiang Shui with a puzzled look.
Yes, Xiang Shui nodded and smiled, I'm almost recovered. Being able to see her cousin again, who grew up with her, made Xiang Shui genuinely happy. You said you had a terminal illness, but it doesn't seem serious, Su Chanshan remarked casually. Upon hearing Su Chanshan's words, Qin Fan frowned. Her words sounded quite unkind. Cousin, it's been years since we last saw each other.
You've become so beautiful. Is he your boyfriend? Xiang Shui paid no attention to Su Chanshan's tone and asked with a smile. I'm Lu Yuping, Chanshan's fiancé.
Lu Yuping stylishly wrapped his arm around Su Chanshan's shoulder and introduced himself.
Cousin, you're engaged.
Xiang Shui exclaimed in surprise upon hearing this. Yes, we're getting married next month, and the wedding will be at the Zhangtian Hotel. Su Chanshan deliberately raised her voice and emphasized the Zhangtian Hotel.
Hearing this, the salesperson nearby showed a look of envy. Wow, Zhangtian Hotel. That's the best hotel in Zhangcheng. It's difficult to book for engagement banquets. It costs at least 1 to 2 million yuan for one event, or even 2 million. Miss, I really envy you.
Your husband must love you very much. Upon hearing the salesperson's exaggerated words, Su Chanshan blushed with pride and said proudly, he's all right. It's mainly because other hotel banquet halls are too shabby, only Zhangtian Hotel is passable. My mom and I had no idea you were getting married.
Xiang Shui suddenly felt a bit down.
Her closest cousin was getting married, and she didn't even inform her, which made her truly saddened.
Chapter 72, Do I have any relation with you?
Upon seeing Xiang Shui's appearance, Su Chanshan couldn't bear it and spoke up, our families are so close, my parents don't think it's necessary to send invitations. They'll call you later.
Is that so? Xiang Shui's eyes brightened once again.
Yes, Su Chanshan responded somewhat awkwardly, then turned to Qin Fan. Xiang Shui, is this your boyfriend? Upon hearing this, Xiang Shui quickly shook her head. No, Qin Gu is not my boyfriend, He
is my friend. Your friend, huh? He doesn't seem impressive.
I wonder where he stands. Lu Yuping's eyes lit up at the mention and he asked. Xiang Shui paused at Lu Yuping's words. She really didn't know what Qin Fan did.
I am a medical intern, Qin Fan spoke up. An intern doctor?
That barely makes any money, Su Chanshan spoke up somewhat snobbishly. Xiang Shui, how about this, I'll have Yuping help your friend find a job. No need, Qin Fan immediately interjected. He hadn't expected to suddenly become the topic of their conversation.
Yuping's father is the vice president of Zhangcheng University.
He started his own business 3 years after graduation and knows many influential figures in Zhangcheng, Su Chanshan proudly mentioned while holding Lu Yuping's arm.
Wow, that's impressive.
Xiang Shui exclaimed with joy at her cousin finding such a good match. Cousin, you and your fiancé are truly a match made in heaven.
Since you're Chanshan's cousin, we're practically family.
In that case, I'll help your friend find a job, Lu Yuping said with a hint of pride.
An intern doctor surely knows about medicine.
How about I arrange something at Jinqiao Tang?
If you're willing, I can put in a good word for you to work as a counter salesperson there, Su Chanxian's future brother-in-law spoke, taking the liberty. Xiang Shui didn't know how to respond to her future brother-in-law's presumptuousness. Qinggu was great at making money, and he even knew influential people in Jiangcheng. He didn't need anyone to arrange a job for him.
No need, Qin Fan said with a stern face. Jinqiao Tang is a well-known chain pharmacy in Jiangcheng.
Working as a salesperson there pays well and is much better than being an intern doctor. Lu Yuping chuckled upon hearing this.
Xiang Shui, is your friend a bit snobbish?
Yuping wants to help him find a job, but he seems picky, Su Chanxian spoke up unhappily upon hearing Qin Fan's words.
Do I have any relation with you? Qin Fan spoke expressionlessly. If it weren't for the fact that you're Xiang Shui's friend, would I bother helping you?
Since you're like this, then I have no obligation, Su Chanxian spoke disdainfully. Xiang Shui stood there unsure of what to say, only able to smile awkwardly. She knew Qinggu didn't need a job, but she was afraid of hurting her cousin's pride if she said so.
Never mind them, I'm here to buy clothes, Su Chanxian said, turning to Lu Yuping with a playful tone. Lu Yuping nodded and then asked the salesperson, how much is the dress you're showcasing? This is a new arrival, designed by Miss Xia Tingyu, the first female designer of Xiagua, and handcrafted by the French master tailor, Mr. Peck Lair. There are only 100 pieces available nationwide, priced at 99,998 yuan, the salesperson continued to introduce the dress before them. However, when Lu Yuping heard the price, his expression changed. 100,000 yuan for a dress? Is this a rip-off?
This price is too expensive, Xiang Shui spoke up from the side. For the poor, it is indeed expensive, but for my Yuping, it's a small amount, isn't it, dear?
Su Chanxian cooed to Lu Yuping. Lu Yuping's expression turned sour upon hearing this.
Although his father was the vice president of Jiangcheng University and he had successfully started a small company, his actual annual income was only around 2 million yuan. Now that he was getting married, he needed money for the wedding banquet, buying a house, and various other expenses. So, buying a dress for 100,000 yuan, which he couldn't wear for more than a few months, was definitely not something he was willing to do. This gentleman, are you buying this for your girlfriend? The salesperson asked Lu Yuping.
Let's see, this is just the first dress we're looking at, Lu Yuping replied. But I like this dress, Su Chanxian spoke up unhappily upon hearing they weren't buying. Chanxian, let's look around first. If there's nothing better later, we can choose this one, Lu Yuping suggested.
Su Chanxian turned her head away, showing her displeasure. I want to buy it now.
The salesperson felt awkward.
They thought they had encountered a big spender, but it seemed not.
What's going on? Why are you arguing?
This time, Su Chanxian's loud voice attracted the store manager. Manager, it's like this dress. The salesperson quickly explained the situation.
The manager looked at Qin Fan and then spoke, Sir, are you sure you want this dress?
It's 99,998 yuan, and if it's damaged during the fitting, you must buy it.
This statement was obviously meant to deter Qin Fan from buying it.
Qinggu, it's too expensive, it's unnecessary, Xiang Shui quickly spoke up. Although she was now somewhat wealthy, her spending habits would never allow her to buy 100,000 yuan dress.
She couldn't bear it. Pretending to be rich. Su Chanxian sneered upon hearing Xiang Shui's words. Qin Fan didn't care at all. Money was just a number to him.
It had no meaning. Then he spoke up, I'll use my card.
You're still using a card? With your poor appearance, do you even have 100,000 yuan limit? Su Chanxian immediately mocked. The manager and salesperson couldn't help but laugh. Qin Fan didn't pay attention at all.
He took out a purple gold card and handed it to the manager. The manager and sales staff were taken aback when they saw the purple gold card he handed over.
A purple gold dragon card?
The manager rubbed his eyes to confirm if he was seeing things. This store was a luxury boutique, and it belonged to the Zhang family group. Miss Zhang, the daughter of the Zhang family, often bought clothes here and used this type of purple gold dragon card. If she didn't recognize this card, she wouldn't have lasted here.
The manager's hands were trembling as he took the card, repeatedly confirming that it was indeed a
purple gold dragon card. Chapter 73, Truly Pretentious. The manager held Qin Fan's card with a slight tremble in his hand, his expression revealing a perplexed and astonished demeanor. It was because the card bore the number 001, denoting the highest level of patronage within the Zhang group, a symbol of utmost prestige.
Meanwhile, Su Chanqian and Lu Yuping, sensing something amiss, exchanged glances at the sight of the card Qin Fan presented.
A purple credit card? What a joke! I thought it was a black card.
Lu Yuping couldn't help but chuckle, his tone filled with sarcasm.
As everyone knew, the highest echelon among cards was the black card.
A purple gold card like this one was beyond ordinary, undoubtedly not a card of renown. The manager shot Lu Yuping a glance, harboring the urge to give him a few slaps. This purple gold dragon card was specially designed by the Jiang family for their most esteemed patrons, to distinguish them from the holders of black cards. While the Jiang group issued black cards, their status paled in comparison to the prestige of the purple gold card. Even if it were a black card, one could easily apply a protective film to shield its surface, Su Chanqian retorted with a touch of sarcasm. Brother Qin, this is too extravagant, please reconsider, Xiang Shui urged, noticing the seriousness of the situation. She knew that if Qin Fan used this card, he would be spending 100,000 yuan on the dress. Although she admired the garment, its exorbitant price was daunting.
However, Su Chanqian's reaction amused her.
Manager, you must verify thoroughly. Perhaps the card is counterfeit.
My cousin's financial situation is far from affluent, and her friend is certainly not wealthy.
The manager, realizing the delicacy of the situation, quickly proceeded to process the payment at the POS terminal. Qin Fan promptly entered his password, and the screen flashed "payment successful" in bold letters. The manager broke into a cold sweat as he observed the printed receipt. It was indeed a genuine purple gold dragon card, numbered 001, representing the epitome of the Jiang family's most esteemed clientele. Such individuals commanded respect and reverence from all quarters in Jiangchang. Handing the card back to Qin Fan with a deferential smile, the manager inquired, "Mr.
Qin, is there anything else I can assist you with?"
Please retrieve the dress and let Xiang Shui try it on, Qin Fan instructed promptly. Certainly, if it doesn't fit, we can contact the manufacturer for an exchange of sizes, the manager replied promptly.
With that, the staff swiftly retrieved the garment. It's impossible. How could this be?
Su Chanqian exclaimed incredulously as she watched the dress being taken down and handed to Xiang Shui. She became increasingly agitated.
You must be mistaken. They couldn't possibly have this much money.
Xiang Shui's heart was in turmoil as she accepted the dress. While she adored the garment, its price tag was daunting. Moreover, wearing it would imply it was a gift from Qin Fan, which would change the dynamic entirely. Xiang Shui, please try it on, Qin Fan urged gently as he observed her hesitation. Responding to his prompt, Xiang Shui took the dress and headed towards the fitting room, her emotions in turmoil. Meanwhile, Su Chanqian and Lu Yuping, having returned to the store, observed the dress still hanging there.
I was right all along. Xiang Shui was deliberately putting on airs, behaving like a delicate flower, Su Chanqian remarked. It seems your cousin is quite cunning.
Paying up front and then seeking a refund, Lu Yuping added, joining in her amusement. Even if Xiang Shui's father were to return, how could he dare to spend so frivolously, especially on his former wife's daughter?
This is a deliberate attempt to show off in front of me.
I never expected Xiang Shui to become so calculating, Su Chanqian exclaimed, her earlier gloom dispelled, replaced by a sense of vindication.
Chanqian, why not invite your cousin's family to the wedding, including her father?
Lu Yuping suggested, a hint of intrigue in his voice.
That's a good idea.
I'll discuss it with my parents later, Su Chanqian agreed readily. Lu Yuping nodded in approval before suggesting, let's go and see the new house. Su Chanqian's spirits lifted at the mention of the new house, and they departed together, leaving behind the pretentious facade of the boutique. As Qin Fan and Xiang Shui exited the store, he couldn't help but express his frustration.
Xiang Shui, it's just 100,000 yuan. The dress suits you perfectly, and you should have seen the awe in the eyes of the staff.
Indeed, the dress was a perfect fit for Xiang Shui, accentuating her natural beauty and leaving the boutique staff in awe. However, Xiang Shui remained resolute.
Brother Qin, it's too extravagant. Besides, as your girlfriend's male companion, how can you give such an expensive gift to another woman?
If Lin Xingyan were to find out, she might misunderstand.
If you really want to buy something, buy it for her. I cannot accept it.
Qin Fan was at a loss for words upon hearing her earnest plea.
He couldn't reveal the true nature of his relationship with Lin Xingyan.
In that case, let's continue browsing, Qin Fan suggested.
Okay, Xiang Shui agreed with a nod.
Together, Qin Fan and Xiang Shui continued their shopping spree,
purchasing several moderately priced garments that were within Xiang Shue's budget. Meanwhile, Su Chanshan and Lu Yuping, having returned to the boutique, observed the dress still hanging there. I was right all along. Xiang Shui was deliberately putting on airs, behaving like a delicate flower, Su Chanshan remarked. It seems your cousin is quite cunning. Paying up front and then seeking a refund, Lu Yuping added, joining in her amusement. Even if Xiang Shui's father were to return, how could he dare to spend so frivolously, especially on his former wife's daughter? This is a deliberate attempt to show off in front of me. I never expected Xiang Shui to become so calculating, Su Chanshan exclaimed, her earlier gloom dispelled, replaced by a sense of vindication. Chanshan, why not invite your cousin's family to the wedding, including her father? Lu Yuping suggested, a hint of intrigue in his voice. That's a good idea. I'll discuss it with my parents later, Su Chanshan agreed readily. Lu Yuping nodded in approval before suggesting, let's go and see the new house. Su Chanshan's spirits lifted at the mention of the new house, and they departed together, leaving behind the pretentious facade of the boutique. As Qin Fan and Xiang Shui exited the store, he couldn't help but express his frustration. Xiang Shui, it's just 100,000 yuan. The dress suits you perfectly, and you should have seen the awe in the eyes of the staff. Indeed, the dress was a perfect fit for Xiang Shui, accentuating her natural beauty and leaving the boutique staff in awe. However, Xiang Shui remained resolute. Brother Qin, it's too extravagant. Besides, as your girlfriend's male companion, how can you give such an expensive gift to another woman? If Lin Qingyan were to find out, she might misunderstand. If you really want to buy something, buy it for her. I cannot accept it. Qin Fan was at a loss for words upon hearing her earnest plea. He couldn't reveal the true nature of his relationship with Lin Qingyan. In that case, let's continue browsing, Qin Fan suggested. Okay, Xiang Shui agreed with a nod. Together, Qin Fan and Xiang Shui continued their shopping spree, purchasing several moderately priced garments that were within Xiang Shui's budget. Chapter 74, I am the owner here. After purchasing clothing for Xiang Shui, Qin Fan drove his modest car with her to the Feihong Fairy Garden, preparing to treat her. Seated in the passenger seat, Xiang Shui glanced at Qin Fan from time to time, hesitating to speak. Do you have something on your mind? Qin Fan naturally noticed and inquired. And nothing. Xiang Shui hesitated for a moment, seemingly undecided. Seeing this, Qin Fan refrained from further inquiry and continued driving. About half an hour later, Qin Fan arrived with Xiang Shui at the Feihong Fairy Garden. Qin big brother, do you and senior sister live in Feihong Fairy Garden? This is the most luxurious community in Jiangcheng. As the car approached the gate, Xiang Shui immediately exclaimed in surprise. Qinyan doesn't live here, my house is here. Qin Fan spoke to Xiang Shui. Upon hearing this, Xiang Shui was somewhat surprised but remained silent. After all, both Qin big brother and senior sister were wealthy, and owning houses everywhere was normal. Soon, Qin Fan parked the car at the entrance, but the gate barrier remained closed. What brings you here? A dark-skinned security captain approached and asked. I am the owner here, Qin Fan replied. The security captain was taken aback. The owner here driving a car worth only 70 or 80,000 yuan? Yes, Qin Fan affirmed. But I have never seen you before. Please state your house number, the security captain asked politely. House number 1, Qin Fan stated. House number 1? The security captain was momentarily stunned, then raised his voice incredulously. Other guards also paused, then burst into laughter. You punk, do you know whose house is number 1? It's the sole mansion of the Jiang family, the first noble family in Jiangcheng. Are you trying to fool us? Driving such a cheap car, yet you dare to associate with Miss Jiang? Captain, is this guy from a mental hospital? A group of guards chuckled nearby. At that moment, a red Mercedes-Benz approached from behind. What are you doing here, Xiang Shui? A woman poked her head out, astonished to see the two individuals in the shabby car. Hearing the voice, Qin Fan and Xiang Shui naturally looked over. The person who arrived turned out to be Su Chanshan and Lu Yuping, whom they had encountered in the mall earlier. Lu Yuping immediately rolled down the window, his tone mocking. Oh, isn't this tycoon Mr. Qin? Are you here to apply for security and cleaning jobs? Xiang Shui felt somewhat displeased hearing this.
In the mall, she had already sensed Su Qianqian and Lu Yuping's disdain for her and Qin Fan, but because Su Qianqian was her cousin, she refrained from reacting now. They met again, and the mockery continued, which made her very angry and disappointed. She hadn't expected her cousin, whom she hadn't seen in 4 years, to change so much.
It's none of your business,
Qin Fan replied without any courtesy. If there weren't so many people around, he would have been ready to teach these two fools a lesson. You have poor manners, and you, as Xiang Shue's friend, are unexpected. Many years have passed, and Xiang Shue has also changed.
Su Qianqian immediately taunted.
Het Qianqian, don't lower yourself to their level.
It's so disgraceful, Lu Yuping said disdainfully.
Upon seeing the Mercedes-Benz GLC 300 they were in, the security captain immediately asked politely, "Sir, miss, do you know them?"
"We do," Lu Yuping replied, then asked, "What are they doing at the entrance?"
"He claims to be the owner here, but he doesn't even know his house number," the security captain sneered. "I've said it, it's house number 1. Qin Fan spoke again, sounding somewhat impatient.
"House number 1?
Lu Yuping was momentarily stunned, then said, "The first 20 houses are either villas or townhouses, worth 50 million each."
"Sir, you are mistaken.
That's the cheapest. House number 1 is on a separate mountain top, worth 2 billion, the security captain corrected.
2 billion?
Xiang Shui was stunned to hear that the villa was worth 2 billion. She hadn't expected Qin Fan's villa to be so astonishingly valuable. Su Qianqian, on the other hand, showed exaggerated surprise. "I didn't expect it, Xiang Shui, your friend turned out to be a millionaire, no wonder he can afford a 100,000 yuan dress. By the way, cousin, where is that 100,000 yuan dress?
It's so beautiful, why aren't you wearing it?"
Hearing this, Xiang Shui replied, "That dress, I didn't buy it, it's too expensive."
"You just couldn't afford it, I noticed it a long time ago. The dress is still in the store, yet you're pretending here. Xiang Shui, let me tell you, hurry back. You're not even qualified to look at the houses here." Su Qianqian's tone turned disdainful. "Sorry, the woman is my wife's cousin. She used to be poor, but now she thinks she's found a wealthy man. In reality, she's just pretending. You don't need to bother with them," Lu Yuping said to the security captain with a smile. "Ha, understood. We often see internet celebrities pretending to be owners here to attract attention and take photos. We're used to such people."
The security captain burst into laughter. "Please let us in, we have an appointment with the real estate agent to view houses,"
Lu Yuping requested.
"Please." The security captain then opened the gate barrier, allowing Lu Yuping and Su Qianqian to enter.
"Xiang Shui, your cousin is going in first, you shouldn't embarrass yourself here. Hurry back," Su Qianqian said arrogantly. "If we buy a house here, we'll take you in for a visit." Then, Lu Yuping drove the Mercedes-Benz into Feihong Ferry Garden.
Qin Fan prepared to follow suit, but was stopped by the security.
"Don't cause trouble, leave now,"
the security captain scolded Qin Fan angrily. Qin Fan frowned and could only take out his phone and call Jiang Qingning.
"Qin Fan, do you want to meet me?" Upon answering the phone, Jiang Qingning's cheerful voice came through.
"I'm at Feihong Ferry Garden, but the security won't let me in," Qin Fan said.
Jiang Qingning immediately said, "Oops, my negligence. I'll take care of it, wait a moment."
Then, Jiang Qingning hung up. Not long after, a man in a suit, slightly overweight, came running out of the gate.
"Director, why are you here?"
The security captain saw this fat man coming out and immediately smiled obsequiously. However, the fat director ignored him and ran to Qin Fan's car, speaking to him with great trepidation. "Mr.
Qin, I am truly sorry.
It's my negligence that caused you trouble." In an instant, the security guards looked at Qin Fan with fear, their lips trembling.
Chapter 75, If she can go up, so can I. "Director, who is this gentleman?" The security captain nervously approached the overweight director and asked. "Don't you have eyes?"
"This gentleman is the top-tier homeowner, a distinguished guest of the Jiang family." The overweight director turned to the security captain and spoke sternly. The security captain's face turned pale, and he trembled as he spoke to Qin Fan. "Mr. Qin, I have been blind. You are of high status, please don't treat me, a mere mortal, the same."
"It's my blindness. I am at fault."
With that, the security captain began slapping himself hard, the sound echoing loudly.
Seeing this, the other security guards followed suit, slapping themselves in quick succession. The man before them was truly of high status.
Open the gate and let me in.
Qin Fan couldn't be bothered to deal with these shallow individuals.
I'll open it for you right away.
The security captain hurriedly opened the gate. Qin Fan immediately drove with Xiang Shui towards his villa.
You idiots, why are you still staring? Shouldn't you escort Mr. Qin up the mountain?
The overweight director berated the security captain. It dawned on the security captain, who promptly ran to get an electric sightseeing car. The overweight director and security captain, along with a few guards, followed behind Qin Fan's car to prevent any mishaps. Qin Fan's car was indeed modest, and climbing the hill was quite a challenge for it. He had to proceed slowly towards the mountaintop. Below the Feihong Fairy Garden were townhouses, while atop the mountain were villas and courtyards, each managed separately. After all, a townhouse at the foot of the mountain was only 6 or 7 million, while those atop started at 50 million, with the most expensive ones valued at 2 billion. To cater to the high-profile residents atop the mountain, there were guards stationed there around the clock. As Qin Fan's car slowly passed by a set of townhouses, he noticed Su Chanxian and Lu Yuping looking at the houses. Yuping, look at those houses on the mountain, they're so beautiful, truly a fairy garden. Su Chanxian held Lu Yuping's hand, filled with envy as she gazed at the villas on the mountain. Those were designed by professional design masters, each starting at least at 50 million. Only those with status and position can reside there.
Lu Yuping also expressed his admiration. Darling, why don't we buy one too? Isn't your father well connected? We can think of a way.
Su Chanxian coquettishly suggested. The mountain is too high, and the higher you go, the colder it gets.
Living there for a long time isn't good for health.
Lu Yuping stated matter-of-factly.
What a joke! A 50 million house, where could they afford it?
The annual property management fee alone would be several $100,000, which the Lu family couldn't afford. At this moment, Qin Fan's modest car slowly passed by them.
Isn't that their car?
Yes, what a joke!
Su Chanxian and Lu Yuping couldn't believe their eyes as they saw Qin Fan's modest car approaching.
Qin Fan and Xiang Shui obviously had no intention of dealing with them and continued forward. Yuping, look behind, those security guards are chasing after us. Su Chanxian suddenly noticed a sightseeing car speeding towards them from behind. They must have used us to get in and then forced their way through.
The security guards are chasing after them. Lu Yuping immediately understood the situation. They're heading up the mountain.
Su Chanxian observed Qin Fan's car and realized it was heading towards the mountain. She immediately panicked and stomped her foot in frustration.
Quick, stop them.
I just told the security guards they're my cousin. If they really barge into the mountain, it will definitely affect us. Lu Yuping also felt anxious. The villas on the mountain belonged to prominent figures in Zhangcheng. If Xiang Shui and the one surnamed Qin forced their way in, it could indeed cause trouble, as Su Chanxian had said. Immediately, Lu Yuping and Su Chanxian got into their car.
We'll intercept them.
Maybe they'll thank us with a discount or something, so hurry up. Su Chanxian urged Lu Yuping to catch up with the thought of a discount. Lu Yuping stepped on the gas. It must be said that the Mercedes-Benz was much better than the modest car, even on mountain roads. It quickly accelerated and overtook Qin Fan's car. Seeing their car overtaken, Lu Yuping swerved and blocked Qin Fan's path in the middle of the road. Seeing this, Qin Fan had no choice but to brake and stop the car. Before Qin Fan and Xiang Shui could get out of the car, Su Chanxian stormed over to their car, furious.
Xiang Shui, what's wrong with you? Didn't I tell you to leave?
Why did you follow us and force your way in?
Are you trying to harm me? Do you know what the consequences are for barging in there?
The people who live there could easily have you killed with just a word. How dare you force your way in? Cousin, I'm going with Brother Qin to his house.
Why can't I go? Xiang Shui got out of the car and questioned Su Chanxian.
I'm taking Xiang Shui to his house.
What's it to you?
Qin Fan got out of the car, impatiently. If it weren't for Su Chanxian being Xiang Shui's cousin, he would really teach these ignorant people a lesson.
Nonsense. Going back to his house?
You couldn't even afford a toilet in those houses if you sold yourselves.
Are you planning to use that platinum card to deceive people again?
Su Chanxian's anger flared even more, and she pointed at them, cursing loudly. Meanwhile, the security guards arrived, led by the security captain and 4 others, hastily running over. "You're just in time, I stopped them for you," Su Chanxian quickly explained to the overweight director and the security guards as they approached. The security captain's face turned extremely unpleasant as he spoke, "Stop causing trouble, and quickly clear the way for Mr. Qin." At this moment, Lu Yuping approached. When he saw the overweight director, he hurried over and said, "Director Yang, you're here too." The overweight director's surname was Yang. He was able to buy a house here because he knew Director Yang through his father's connections. Otherwise, in a neighborhood like Feihong Fairy Garden, even with money, one couldn't buy a house. Upon seeing Lu Yuping, Director Yang, his face darkened, said, "Are you trying to get me killed?" Lu Yuping was stunned when he heard this, utterly confused. "Director Yang, what's going on? What's going on? Are you trying to get me killed by blocking the road of the top-tier homeowner? Aren't you tired of living?" Director Yang's anger surged, and he angrily scolded Lu Yuping. Just now, Miss Jiang repeatedly instructed him to treat Mr. Qin well, so he brought a group of people to follow him to avoid any mishaps. But mishaps did occur. Upon hearing this, Lu Yuping and Su Chanxian felt as if they had been struck by lightning, their minds buzzing. How could this be possible? Is he really the top-tier homeowner? Is this a joke? Don't just stand there, make way for Mr. Qin. Director Yang raised his voice. The security guards immediately stepped forward and moved Su Chanxian and Lu Yuping's car aside. Then, Su Chanxian and Lu Yuping watched as Qin Fan drove his modest car with Xiang Shui through the gate and up the mountain. This can't be happening, this can't be happening. How could Xiang Shui get in? How could she find such a good man? Impossible, absolutely impossible. If she can go up, I must go up too. Su Chanxian felt like she was going crazy, feeling inferior to Xiang Shui, who had been abandoned and was seriously ill. Then, she rushed forward. "You wretch, get lost." But as soon as she rushed up, Director Yang stopped her, and then slapped her directly, knocking her to the ground. "Director Yang, why are you hitting people?" Lu Yuping came over and spoke. "Get lost. You two are not welcome here, and don't even think about buying a house. Get out." Director Yang was now extremely irritable. The security guards came forward and kicked the 2 of them out. Standing outside Feihong Fairy Garden, Su Chanxian and Lu Yuping were dumbfounded. They had just said that Xiang Shui didn't even have the qualifications to look at the houses here, but now they found themselves standing outside and unable to enter. Could it be, is that surname Qin really the top-tier homeowner? Lu Yuping shivered uncontrollably, murmuring to himself. Chapter 76, How did this happen? One who can reside in Villa Tianzino. One must be a significant figure indeed. Today, the 2 of them kept mocking each other incessantly. It was completely provoking one another. This seems like seeking death, no matter how you look at it. How is that possible? If that person's surname Qin is truly the owner of Villa Tianzino. 1. Why didn't he buy clothes for Xiang Shui? Su Chanxian still couldn't believe it, not believing that Xiang Shui could find Villa Tianzino. 1, and more importantly, not believing that the man Xiang Shui found was better than her husband. Xiang Shui and that person's surname Qin must be here to work. Absolutely impossible for them to be the owners of Villa Tianzino. 1, absolutely. Upon hearing this, Lu Yuping felt more like Su Chanxian was deceiving herself, only able to smile bitterly and say, "Yes, I suppose so." They must have been summoned by that owner to work, otherwise, they wouldn't be driving that kind of shabby car. It must be so. With such a house, why would Xiang Shui be allowed in? She's shameless. Not only does she not buy clothes, but she also returns them for a refund on purpose, pretending. I used to think she was a pure-hearted woman, but she's just a despicable wench. Su Chanxian couldn't help but curse upon hearing this, feeling somewhat relieved after venting her anger. Qin Fan brought Xiang Shui to his own villa. Wow, brother Qin, your villa is just too big, and so beautiful. Xiang Shui couldn't remain calm upon seeing Qin Fan's villa. Standing outside the villa, Xiang Shui was truly shocked by the villa in front of her. She had never seen such a beautiful villa before. Looks are deceiving, Qin Fan replied. Upon hearing this, Xiang Shui was stunned. This was Feihong Mountain, with a river nearby. It could be said to be picturesque. If this was considered unremarkable, then where in Jiangchang would be considered remarkable?
What Qin Fan meant by unremarkable was, of course, different from Xiang Shue's understanding. He was referring to it not being a place conducive to cultivation. There was nothing here, so he considered it unremarkable. However, Qin Fan decided to gradually transform this place. "Alright, let's go in," Qin Fan said to Xiang Shui. Then, Qin Fan took Xiang Shui into the villa, heading straight for the bathroom. And just like last time, they undressed and soaked in the medicinal bath. For Xiang Shui, soaking in the medicinal bath was truly incredibly comfortable, and she unknowingly fell asleep again. Qin Fan glanced at Xiang Shui sleeping by the pool, frowned slightly. "The effect is diminishing too quickly, we need better medicinal ingredients." He had only treated Xiang Shui twice now, but it seemed the effectiveness of the small elemental fluid he had prepared was already declining. Indeed, more auxiliary items are needed: formations, elixirs, magical tools. However, creating these items from scratch will take quite some time. "Let's start with the magical tools," Qin Fan thought for a moment, then let Xiang Shui continue soaking in the medicinal bath while he left. He had the extreme yang stone and the emperor's jade stone in his hands. He could make a magical tool embedded with the extreme yang stone for Xiang Shui to carry with her. Not only could it improve Xiang Shui's physique, but it could also protect her. As for the rest, he thought of establishing formations and planting spirit herbs in this villa, but obtaining the seeds of these spirit herbs was a difficult task. First, refine the magical tool, then set up the formations, and then figure out how to get the spiritual herbs. Qin Fan immediately formulated a plan. With a plan in mind, he began to act. First, Qin Fan took out the extreme yang stone and the emperor's jade stone. He was preparing to make a jade pendant embedded with the extreme yang stone to give to Xiang Shui. As time passed unknowingly, it was already dusk when Xiang Shui woke up leisurely, stretched her body, and suddenly her face changed. I fell asleep again." She quickly put on her clothes, ran out of the bathroom, and came to the hall, shouting, "Brother Qin, are you here?" Upon hearing the voice, Qin Fan, who had been making the magical tool, shook his head, put it down, and then went downstairs. "How was it?" Qin Fan asked after coming out. "Very comfortable," Xiang Shui replied with a brilliant smile. Qin Fan nodded and said, "Now, let me take you back." Xiang Shui nodded. Soon, the two of them got in the car, and Qin Fan drove Xiang Shui home. "Brother Qin, the day after tomorrow is my birthday. I want to invite you." Xiang Shui hesitated to speak in the car. Qin Fan heard her and looked at Xiang Shui. "I want to invite you and Sister Lin to come." "It's my 21st birthday," Xiang Shui hurriedly said. "Okay, I'll tell Qing Yan when I get back." Qin Fan then said, "I'm just worried that Qing Yan might be too busy, she's been busy with work lately." "That's great," Xiang Shui said to Qin Fan. Later, Qin Fan sent Xiang Shui back home and then returned to Lin Qingyan's villa. After returning, Lin Qingyan was still in the villa, with the dishes still untouched on the table. "Are you waiting for me to eat?" Qin Fan asked strangely when he saw Lin Qingyan and the untouched dishes on the table. "Who's waiting for you to eat?" "I just happened to come back." Lin Qingyan glanced at Qin Fan and said. Qin Fan sat down at the table, and Lin Qingyan saw Qin Fan sitting down and eating with chopsticks. "Where's Wang Ant?" Qin Fan asked curiously. "She needs rest, so she went back to her hometown." Lin Qingyan replied. "What about this meal?" Qin Fan asked curiously, looking at Lin Qingyan. "Eat your own food." Lin Qingyan rolled her eyes and said. Qin Fan then continued to eat, while Lin Qingyan occasionally looked at Qin Fan eating, hesitated for a moment, and asked, "Is it delicious?" "It's quite delicious," Qin Fan replied. Lin Qingyan heard this and raised her eyebrows, smiling secretly. "However, Aunt Wang's cooking is still better. Look at this shredded pork with green peppers, it's a bit salty," Qin Fan added. Lin Qingyan's face immediately turned cold. "If you don't want to eat, don't eat." Because she had been busy with work these days, she and Qin Fan had hardly seen each other at home. So today, it was a weekend. She took advantage of the few tasks at work, and Wang Ant was not here, so she came back early, prepared the meal, and waited for Qin Fan to come back. As a result, she was still criticized by Qin Fan. Qin Fan didn't say anything and continued to eat. "Where did you go today?" Lin Qingyan asked. "I went to see Xiang Shui," Qin Fan said. "Went to see Xiang Shui? What did you do?" Lin Qingyan's heart was a little displeased when she heard that, but she knew that Qin Fan should be helping Xiang Shui with her illness. "Bought clothes with her." Xin Fan casually said.
Lin Qingyan heard Xin Fan's words and suddenly became uneasy.
These two went on a date.
Thinking about the date, she felt a little angry, but it seemed that she had no reason to be angry.
Why are you accompanying Xiang Shui to buy clothes?
Lin Qingyan gritted her teeth and asked.
Xiang Shui's birthday is the day after tomorrow, so we went to buy clothes.
She invited the two of us to her birthday party.
Are you free?
Xin Fan casually asked. Lin Qingyan was stunned for a moment, then after a moment, she said, I might be free on the day after tomorrow night.
Then it's settled.
I'll send Xiang Shui a WeChat message.
Xin Fan then took out his phone and sent a WeChat message to Xiang Shui. We need to prepare gifts. Remember to prepare gifts, unlike last time. Lin Qingyan reminded.
Lin Qingyan was referring to the first time they met when Xin Fan introduced her to his father in Su Xiuzhen.
I've prepared it a long time ago. Xin Fan replied.
Why are you so concerned about Xiang Shui?
Lin Qingyan whispered. Xin Fan naturally heard it and then said, Boss, your dish, isn't there too little vinegar?
Lin Qingyan heard Xin Fan's words, puffed up her cheeks, and then took several bites of rice.
After finishing, she said, wash the bowl.
After speaking, she hurriedly ran upstairs.
Xin Fan was puzzled. Wasn't his boss an iceberg female CEO? How did she become like this? Chapter 77, The Arrival of a Formidable Foe.
The following day arrived. Lin Qingyan rushed to work early in the morning due to an outdoor live broadcast program at her company, while Xin Fan headed to his own villa. Having completed half of the artifact crafting yesterday, today was surely dedicated to its completion. On his way, Xin Fan contacted Ma Budong to inquire about the availability of high-quality jade artifacts, as he needed a large quantity. Ma Budong promised to deliver all the high-quality jade stones he had in the next few days. To Ma Budong, Xin Fan was akin to a god of wealth. Such a small investment was negligible to him. Xin Fan collected so many jade stones to establish a spiritual array at his villa. Upon entering the Feihong Immortal Garden this time, he was naturally respectfully escorted by the security guards. After arriving at the villa, Xin Fan focused on crafting the artifact. By nightfall, Xin Fan had completed the artifact, a jade pendant with an embedded extreme young stone. This pendant, when worn by Xiang Shui, would continuously warm her body and improve her health by dispelling the accumulated cold toxins.
Moreover, most importantly, this pendant could protect Xiang Shui. With it, even foundation building stage cultivators couldn't harm her.
Originally, Xin Fan wanted to create an artifact even nascent soul stage cultivators couldn't contend with, but alas, the materials on Earth were inadequate. He tried his best but could only create an artifact that foundation building stage cultivators couldn't resist. However, it seemed that there were no foundation building stage cultivators on Earth. Alright, I'll give this to Xiang Shui on her birthday, Xin Fan said after completing the crafting, relieved.
Then, he put it on and left the villa.
After leaving the villa, Xin Fan walked downhill because his old car struggled to climb, so he chose to walk. It was already evening, and many wealthy families living here were out for a stroll. These people were quite surprised to see Xin Fan walking down from the mountaintop because there was only one villa on the summit.
Could he be living in Villa Tianzino? 1. Xin Fan.
As Xin Fan descended the mountain, a voice suddenly called out. Xin Fan looked over and surprisingly saw Lin Qingyan, accompanied by several young men and women, along with a group of staff. These young men and women were all dressed fashionably, each holding live streaming tools, as if conducting an outdoor live broadcast.
Lin Qingyan looked at Xin Fan in astonishment and asked, What are you doing here? If I said my house is here, would you believe me? Xin Fan smiled.
I'll believe it when pigs fly. Lin Qingyan retorted unkindly. Xin Fan shrugged, realizing that Lin Qingyan wouldn't believe him.
So, he asked, What are you doing here?
It's a company project, filming an outdoor live broadcast. Only I can lead the team here, otherwise, this private place wouldn't allow broadcasters in, Lin Qingyan explained. She then looked up at the mountaintop and remarked, It's a pity we can't go up there, that villa is the most distinctive.
Why not go up?
No one's stopping you, Xin Fan suggested. Lin Qingyan rolled her eyes, I've already told you, this is private property.
Without the owner's permission, we can't go over. Permission granted, go ahead. Xin Fan immediately replied. With an annoyed look, Lin Qingyan said, Are you treating the villa as yours? Just go up if you want.
It really is mine, Xin Fan said.
Lin Qingyan rolled her eyes again, saying, "How did you get in here? Do you know anyone who lives here?" Qin Fan knew Lin Qingyan definitely wouldn't believe that Villa Tianzi no.
One belonged to him, so he could only say, "I came here to help someone with their illness."
Illness? Lin Qingyan's eyes lit up, asking eagerly, "Qin Fan, let me ask you, are you really skilled in medicine?"
Not really, Qin Fan replied truthfully. He truly didn't understand medicine, but he did understand things like restoring supernatural abilities in alchemy, which were miracles to ordinary people but not medical skills. Lin Qingyan gave Qin Fan a stern look and said impatiently, "We're almost done here.
Would you like to go out for dinner later? Aunt Wang won't be back until the day after tomorrow."
Yesterday, I cooked for you, and you dared to say it wasn't as good as Aunt Wang's cooking.
Today, I definitely won't cook for you.
Lin Qingyan had made up her mind.
So, she invited you out for dinner today?
No, thanks, Qin Fan declined upon seeing the group of broadcasters, not wanting to dine with them.
Feeling rejected by Qin Fan, Lin Qingyan walked away angrily.
Qin Fan ignored her and descended the mountain, returning home.
At 10 o'clock in the evening, it started raining heavily in Jiangqing. On a quiet pier by the river in Jiangcheng, several Mercedes-Benz off-road vehicles were parked.
Zhou Leidong, dressed in a grey robe, stood on the riverbank, gazing at the turbulent river caused by the heavy rain, as if waiting for someone to arrive. Beside him, there were also many others doing the same, all disciples of Huaishanmen, including Zhang Hongyi and Zhang Wenbin.
Dong Lao, when will Mr. Zhou arrive?
It's been 4 hours, Zhang Hongyi cautiously inquired.
Although Zhou Leidong had saved the Zhang family had also suffered great losses.
All of his properties had been bought out at a low price.
But he had no choice.
He had betrayed the Zhang family, and now he could only go into hiding like this, otherwise, his whole family would be killed by the Zhang family's people. However, now it seemed that there was hope.
Mr. Zhou was coming back for revenge. Once successful, both the Zhang family and the Qianhuang Hall would collapse by then. The Zhang family could regain some power and prosper once again. Dad, is Mr. Zhou really powerful? The people from Huaishanmen who went to seek revenge before all died, Zhang Wenbin interjected disdainfully.
He was very unhappy. Lin Qingyan hadn't been obtained, and he had been disabled by Qin Fan. Subsequent retaliation had failed repeatedly, and now even the Zhang family was about to be implicated. So, he felt that Huaishanmen was very unreliable.
Zhou Leidong coldly glanced at Zhang Wenbin, scaring him into backing away. He's here, he's here.
Suddenly, a disciple of Huaishanmen shouted loudly.
Here? Zhang Hongyi looked at the surging waves on the dark river. I don't see any boats.
Brother Zhou is coming alone, the disciple said.
Coming alone?
Zhang Hongyi froze, staring at the rushing waves on the river. Could Mr.
Zhou be driving a speedboat over?
Driving a speedboat in this weather is asking for death, Dad. I don't think we should expect too much. He might have died in the river before arriving, Zhang Wenbin disdainfully remarked.
At this
moment, due to the heavy rain, the waves on the river were rolling, with some waves reaching over a meter high. If it were a large ship, it could barely dock, but an ordinary small boat would easily capsize in the river. Driving a speedboat in this weather meant certain death.
Look, he's here.
At this moment, a disciple of Huaishanmen suddenly shouted. Everyone looked over, only to see a white trace on the surging river surface, like a dragon crossing the river, constantly swimming towards the bank. But when the white shadow approached the bank, a figure could be vaguely seen running on the rolling river.
Is that the Dragon King of the river?
Zhang Hongyi saw this scene, his eyes widened, and his lips trembled.
Chapter 78, The Return to Jiangcheng.
Zhang Hongyi and Zhang Wenbin stared at the figure on the river with gaping mouths, their faces filled with disbelief. Father, there's someone running on the river.
Zhang Wenbin's lips trembled as he spoke.
Indeed, at this moment, there was a person braving the stormy weather, striding effortlessly across the surging waves of the river, heading towards the pier.
Is that Mr. Zhou?
Zhang Hongyi looked at Zhou Leidong, his voice trembling with uncertainty.
We'll know once he reaches the shore, Zhou Leidong replied calmly.
Zhang Hongyi's heart trembled as he watched the person sprinting towards them on the river.
If it was indeed Mr.
Zhou, then there was no reason for the Zhang family and the Qianhuang Hall to remain unscathed. Just as the white dragon-like figure approached the pier, about 30 meters away,
the figure suddenly stepped on the surface of the river, causing a huge wave to erupt. Then, the person soared into the air like an eagle, circling in the sky before landing on the ground with a loud thud. Instantly, cracks resembling spider webs appeared on the ground. Everyone present was plunged into silence upon witnessing this scene, with nothing but the sound of the pouring rain breaking the quietude. Under the illumination of the off-road vehicle's headlights, stood a middle-aged man. He was not tall, standing at only about 1.70 meters, yet he exuded an aura that sent shivers down everyone's spine. What was even more peculiar was that despite his mad dash across the river's surface, his clothes remained dry, untouched by even a drop of water from the torrential rain, as if the rain itself avoided dampening his attire. "Mr. Zhou?" Zhang Hongyi stammered as he watched the man touch down on the ground. "Yes, it is I." Zhou Leidong's gaze, sharp as a blade, landed on Zhang Hongyi. Having roamed Jiangcheng for over 20 years, Zhang Hongyi had encountered Zhou Leidong from 10 years ago, but the Zhou Leidong before him now was so terrifyingly formidable that he found it difficult to articulate his thoughts. "It has been 10 years, and you have finally returned." Zhou Leidong scanned the surroundings, his gaze bypassing the people nearby and settling on a rugged off-road vehicle in the distance. Bang! In the next moment, he stomped forcefully, and his body suddenly shot up like a cannonball. Simultaneously, the door of the off-road vehicle was immediately flung open, and two figures swiftly emerged from within. Boom! Moments later, Zhou Leidong crashed onto the off-road vehicle, denting its roof, before a resounding explosion followed, engulfing the entire vehicle in flames. The flames extinguished rapidly amidst the pouring rain, leaving Zhou Leidong standing unscathed on the damaged vehicle, his clothes still immaculate. His gaze then fell upon the two figures who had escaped from the vehicle. "You two are Kunlun's men, aren't you?" Upon hearing this, the faces of the two individuals darkened. They were none other than Suzaku and Azure Wolf, dispatched to keep an eye on Huaishanman. "Zhou Leidong, are you seeking death?" Suzaku glared at Zhou Leidong and growled. "Not at all. It's just a vehicle, isn't it? I'm willing to compensate you both with 5 vehicles. How about that?" Zhou Leidong smiled as he spoke. However, his smile sent shivers down their spines. "You!" Azure Wolf stared at Zhou Leidong, trembling involuntarily. A grandmaster. This was a true grandmaster. Before Zhou Leidong, a half-step grandmaster was like a child. Indeed, this was the reality. A grandmaster was more than capable of dealing with a dozen or more half-step grandmasters. "We're leaving." Finally, Azure Wolf gritted his teeth and said to Suzaku. Subsequently, the two of them disappeared swiftly into the curtain of rain. Upon seeing them leave, Zhou Leidong also turned and left. "Congratulations, Mr. Zhou, on your triumphant return to Jiangcheng." Zhang Hongyi, now recovered, exclaimed loudly. Ignoring Zhang Hongyi, who was akin to a broken dog, Zhou Leidong looked at Zhou Leidong and inquired, "I heard that several attempts at revenge have failed, and that people have died. Do you know who ordered the assassinations?" "Senior brother, I've investigated. The only person we could trace is someone referred to as Mr. Qin by Ning Rushuan and Zhang Tianxiong," Zhou Leidong replied. "Mr. Qin?" Zhou Leidong's expression darkened. "After being away for 10 years, another prominent figure has emerged in Jiangcheng?" "No, this Mr. Qin appeared recently," Zhou Leidong continued. "Oh, a recent arrival?" Zhou Leidong remarked. "Senior brother, do you intend to seek revenge against this person?" Zhang Hongyi asked cautiously. "Not yet. My priority now is to take control of Jiangcheng and establish a foothold for Huaishanman in Xia country." Zhou Leidong declared. "What, Huaishanman intends to enter Xia country?" Zhang Hongyi was shocked by this revelation. "That's right," Zhou Leidong affirmed. "When I returned to Xia country and arrived in Jiangcheng, it was to pave the way for Huaishanman's entry into the country. Unfortunately, my previous attempt failed, but this time, failure is not an option, nor will it be tolerated." "Senior brother, is it Master who ordered this?" Zhou Leidong's eyes lit up with excitement as he spoke. "Yes, Master has achieved great mastery and has stepped into the realm of grandmasters. He is preparing to return to Xia country, to once again confront our old enemy, Xiao Zhangnan. I must remove all obstacles this time and prepare for Master's arrival," Zhou Leidong declared. Upon hearing this, Zhang Hongyi's eyes gleamed with joy. This time, he had chosen the right side to align himself with. The strength of Huaishanmen in Xia country was definitely formidable, and in the Jiangnan region, it would undoubtedly be a first-class power. By hitching his wagon to Huaishanmen, the Jiang family was destined to flourish. Senior brother, the challenge has been issued, and the martial alliance of Jiangcheng has accepted it. As long as you sweep through the martial artists of Jiangcheng, unifying the city will be a matter of course. Zhou Leidong also spoke with confidence. Upon hearing this, Zhou Leidong couldn't help but reveal a sinister grin. 10 years ago, my wife and child perished in Jiangcheng, and I leaped into the river, barely escaping with my life. Now that I have returned, not only will I unify Jiangcheng, but I will also settle all past grievances. Jiang family, Ning family, I'll grant you 5 more days of life. Jiangcheng Public Security Bureau. Captain, shall we allow Zhou Leidong to be so brazen and lawless? Suzaku returned to the Public Security Bureau and immediately asked. The captain, Confronting. Yes, Zhou Leidong is indeed too arrogant. Why hasn't the higher-ups instructed us to take action instead of just keeping watch? Azure Wolf also chimed in angrily. Such humiliation. Members of the prestigious Kunlun Special Forces, only to be humiliated by a wanted criminal returning from overseas. This was not just humiliation, it was disgrace. Confronting's face darkened, but he remained silent. Captain, why aren't you saying anything? A grandmaster is nothing to fear. Kunlun is not without its own grandmasters. Suzaku pressed on. Captain, inform the higher-ups about this matter. Let them send a grandmaster over. Azure Wolf suggested indignantly. The higher-ups have ordered us to continue monitoring the situation. As long as innocent lives are not affected, Kunlun will not intervene. Confronting reiterated. Captain, can you tell us the reason? Pichio, who had been silent all along, finally spoke up. I don't know. Confronting replied, this is an order from above, and we must abide by it. Upon hearing this, Suzaku and the others could only remain speechless. We can only wait for the showdown at the arena in 5 days. But how can we fight without grandmasters in Jiangcheng? Suzaku asked. It's possible that there are grandmasters in Jiang family, Ning family, or the martial alliance. Confronting replied, so, let's wait and see. Chapter 79, Snow's Birthday Celebration. Zhou Dazhang's return was of no concern to Qin Fan. He was engrossed in laying out formations in his villa, using the fine jade sent by Madong to create an array of small-scale artifacts. The key to successful formation lay in the meticulous crafting of numerous miniature artifacts, interlinked to form a cohesive whole, carefully aligned with the terrain's contours. This process was time-consuming, and after Qin Fan arrived at the villa, he spent an entire day fashioning around 20 or so of these miniature artifacts from Madong's jade. However, this quantity of artifacts would surely be insufficient to lay out the formation atop the mountain. He still awaited Madong's subsequent delivery of more jade to complete the array. As the evening drew near, Qin Fan, sensing the opportune moment, contacted Lin Qingyan. I have left the company and am on my way to Xiang Shui's place. Don't be late, and remember to bring a gift, Lin Qingyan responded promptly upon receiving Qin Fan's call. Understood, Qin Fan replied before ending the call and descending from the mountain, heading towards Xiang Shui's home. Xiang Shui's residence was situated in an old apartment building in the urban village of the city. Upon parking his car, Qin Fan noticed Lin Qingyan's vehicle nearby, indicating she had arrived ahead of him. Following the address provided by Xiang Shui, Qin Fan identified Building 603 in Qinggu. Welcome. Xiang Shui greeted him warmly at the door. Today, Xiang Shui wore the outfit she had purchased that day, a snow-white fitted dress that accentuated her slender waist and long, pristine thighs. Her face was lightly made up, adorned with simple earrings, enhancing her beauty compared to before. Are you stunned? Lin Qingyan, noticing Qin Fan's arrival, teased him with a playful smirk. Though Xiang Shui was naturally beautiful, after several treatments by Qin Fan, her once ailing complexion had completely disappeared. Now, with her deliberate adornment, she appeared even more enchanting. You've outdone yourself. Qin Fan replied in jest. Lin Qingyan rolled her eyes in response, choosing not to engage with Qin Fan. While she acknowledged Xiang Shui's beauty, comparable to her own, hearing Qin Fan's remarks still irked her. Little Qin, come in, dinner is ready. Zhang Xuefan greeted Qin Fan eagerly. Yes, Qin Gu, come inside, Xiang Shui urged Qin Fan. With that, Qin Fan entered the residence. The birthday celebration was a small gathering of just 4 individuals, Xiang Shui, Zhang Xuefan, Lin Qingyan, and Qin Fan. My mother organized this birthday party to celebrate my recovery, so I invited Qin Gu and sister Lin, Xiang Shui explained with a cheerful smile.
It's wonderful, Lin Qingyan responded with a smile. She then presented the carefully prepared gift to Xiang Shui. This is your birthday present.
After presenting her gift, Lin Qingyan gave Qin Fan a meaningful look, prompting him to quickly produce his own gift.
Qin Fan took out a box and handed it to Xiang Shui. Here's my gift.
Xiang Shui was pleasantly surprised by Qin Fan's gift.
Thank you, Qin Gu. Why didn't you thank me when I gave you mine? Why only thank Qin Gu?
Lin Qingyan quipped playfully.
Thank you, Sister Lin, Xiang Shui replied with a smile.
Afterwards, Xiang Shui prepared to open the gifts, but was stopped by Zhang Xuefan. Make a wish before you open it, dear.
You should know better than to forget your manners, Zhang Xuefan chided gently.
Sticking out her tongue, Xiang Shui then sat at the table.
Light the candles.
Lin Qingyan, filled with excitement, eagerly lit the candles for Xiang Shui.
Xiang Shui, make a wish quickly.
I made this wish when I turned 21, Xiang Shui began.
I hope I can always be by Qin Ji's side.
Though Xiang Shui silently made a wish, Qin Fan seemed to sense a hint of affection and couldn't help but chuckle wryly inwardly.
This sentiment was one he couldn't reciprocate.
After making her wish, Xiang Shui blew out the candles and cut the cake.
Xiang Shui, let's see what Qin Ji's gift is.
I'm curious about what he got you, Lin Qingyan interjected at that moment. Upon hearing this, Xiang Shui nodded and opened Qin Fan's box, revealing the jade pendant inside. As soon as she took it out, Lin Qingyan's eyes widened. The pendant was made of imperial jade, exquisitely crafted and naturally beautiful.
What was even more astonishing was the small golden light flickering in the center of the pendant, resembling a dancing flame. Xiang Shui and Zhang Xuefan were also stunned. Qin Gu, is this made from that jade?
Xiang Shui asked, snapping out of her daze.
Yes, I just finished making it.
Put it on, it can protect you and even aid in your recovery, Qin Fan explained.
It's too precious. Xiang Shui couldn't help but exclaim.
Xiang Shui knew the value of that jade pendant, several tens of millions. As for what was inside, it was undoubtedly invaluable.
This. How much is it, Qin Fan? Lin Qingyan also realized that its worth was definitely not low. I don't know, Qin Fan replied. How could he know how much such a thing would sell for in the mortal world? It could easily be worth tens of billions. You don't know what you bought? Lin Qingyan looked at Qin Fan incredulously. Who said I bought it? I made it myself.
Here, Xiang Shui, put it on quickly, Qin Fan urged, rising to help Xiang Shui put it on. Seeing this, Xiang Shui quickly put it on herself. As soon as she put it on, Xiang Shui felt a warm flow surging in, as if she were bathing in medicinal water, incredibly comfortable.
Qin Gu, this. Xiang Shui knew this was no ordinary item.
Custom made for you, Qin Fan replied. Lin Qingyan, on the other hand, began to feel increasingly uncomfortable listening in. The birthday gift she had personally tailored for Xiang Shui had suddenly turned sour. Let's eat cake, Xiang Shui noticed Lin Qingyan's thoughts but didn't know how to explain, so she changed the subject.
With that, Xiang Shui cut the cake. Knock, knock, knock. Just then, a knock on the door interrupted Xiang Shui. Who is it? Zhang Xuefan instinctively got up to open the door.
However, the moment she opened the door, she froze in place. Standing outside was a handsome and refined middle-aged man. Today is my daughter's 21st birthday, so I came specially from Huai City, the middle-aged man said politely, holding a gift in his hand.
Why are you here? You're not welcome here, leave. Zhang Xuefan
snapped back to her senses upon hearing this, immediately shouting loudly. Lin Qingyan and Qin Fan also looked at the man, and in an instant, both of them realized the man's relationship with Xiang Shui. Because Xiang Shui bore a resemblance to this man between her eyebrows, though she looked a bit more feminine.
Dad?
Xiang Shui's body stiffened as she heard the man's words, her gaze staring blankly at him.
Chapter 80, Xiang Shui's father, Xiang Donying. Dad?
Xiang Shui looked at the middle-aged man standing at the door, her voice trembling slightly.
Xiaoxue, I missed your 18 birthdays, but I won't miss any more in the future, the refined gentleman spoke gently to Xiang Shui. Go away. You're not welcome here. Go find that old hag of yours.
Zhang Xuefan cried out angrily to the middle-aged man, pounding his chest as she spoke. The man didn't seem to care, embracing Zhang Xuefan and saying, "You've suffered for so many years, both of you. From now on, I'll make it up to you. Why did you, a faithless man, come back?" Zhang Xuefan sobbed in his embrace. Seeing this scene, Xiang Shui couldn't help but throw herself into their arms, crying and calling them mom and dad.
"You said Xiang Shui is from a single-parent family?" Qin Fan asked Lin Qingyan.
Xiang Shui's father, when he was young, was quite handsome. He caught the eye of a wealthy woman, then abandoned his wife and daughter. Now he's back, Lin Qingyan explained to Qin Fan. In fact, everyone in the area knew about this matter, but it was tacitly understood among them. Now, the unexpected thing was that Xiang Shui's father had actually returned. "Look at his attire, Xiang Shui's father has been doing quite well these years," Lin Qingyan whispered to Qin Fan.
Qin Fan nodded, his gaze shifting past Xiang Shui's father.
Behind him stood many professional bodyguards, among them an elderly, withered figure that caught Qin Fan's attention. His aura is somewhat similar to Foundation establishment stage, quite formidable compared to Ant Wang, Qin Fan observed with curiosity. Ant Wang was the most formidable martial artist he had encountered in Jiang City. However, this elderly man was not far behind Ant Wang in strength.
Of course, the aura was only similar. It couldn't compare to a genuine Foundation establishment cultivator.
And Foundation establishment was divided into 3 realms: Human Realm, Earth Realm, and Heaven Realm. The strongest was Heaven Realm Foundation establishment.
Each realm also had 1 to 3 tribulations of Foundation establishment.
The strongest was the 3 tribulations of Heaven Realm Foundation establishment. Qin Fan was the only one with 3 tribulations of Heaven Realm Foundation establishment in the Qinxian Star region. He was the strongest Foundation establishment cultivator back then. But this elderly man's aura, similar to Foundation establishment, was far inferior even to a 1 tribulation Human Realm Foundation establishment. After spending some time consoling Xiang Shui and Zhang Xuefan, the man brought the 2 of them to Lin Qingyan and Qin Fan.
"Hello, I'm Xiang Dongying, Xiang Shui's father.
I used to live in Huai City," the man introduced himself to Qin Fan and Lin Qingyan. "I've heard from Xiang Shui that you both have taken good care of her.
I'm really grateful to you." "Huai City, Xiang Dongying?"
Lin Qingyan heard the name of Xiang Shui's father and was stunned, her face full of astonishment.
"Sister, do you know my dad?" Xiang Shui asked curiously upon hearing Lin Qingyan's reaction. "I've been to Huai City many times. There's a person there known as Lord Ing. Is that Uncle Xiang?" Lin Qingyan replied.
"Ha, I didn't expect my little title to spread to Jiang City.
That's just a nickname in the martial world.
It's not worth mentioning. I'm Xiang Shui's father now," Xiang Dongying laughed heartily. "Uncle Xiang, that's not a trivial title," Lin Qingyan chimed in.
"Sister, is my dad very powerful?" Xiang Shui asked curiously.
"How should I put it?" Lin Qingyan pondered for a moment before speaking.
"If we compare your dad with the big businessmen and tycoons in Jiang City, he's probably not much different from the Jiang family group. Huai City was located in the south of Jiang City.
In this area, it was the second largest city after Jiang City, with a stronger economy and a larger population.
And Xiang Dongying had a big family background in Huai City, deeply rooted there.
No one dared to provoke him in Huai City, and Lin Qingyan's comparison was indeed appropriate.
Xiang Shui's eyes widened at Lin Qingyan's words. What was the Jiang family group capable of?
When she was with Qin Fan, she had witnessed it. In Jiang City, it was just a name, but it had intimidated countless people. Xiang Shui never expected that her father would be such a big shot. Lin Qingyan was also surprised to see Xiang Shui's reaction. She never expected Xiang Shui to be Xiang Dongying's daughter. If this news got out, Xiang Shui's status in Jiang City would probably be on par with the heiress of the Jiang family group.
"I didn't expect Miss Lin to know so much. Xiang Shui is fortunate to have you as her sister."
"I sincerely thank you," Xiang Dongying said to Lin Qingyan. "I'm just doing what I can to help," Lin Qingyan replied modestly. "Miss Lin, no, I'll call you Xiaolin from now on," Xiang Dongying said politely.
Lin Qingyan nodded. "Xiaolin, have you heard of a Mr. Qin in Jiang City recently?"
Xiang Dongying continued. Lin Qingyan was taken aback for a moment, then thought for a moment before replying. "I've heard some things in the business community. It seems he's a distinguished guest of the Jiang family."
"I haven't met him personally, so I'm not sure." As the president of Xiuli Media, Lin Xingyan often participated in social events in Zheng City's business circles. Moreover, because of the investment from the Zheng family group, she had more interactions with them. Naturally, she had heard of Mr. Qin, but unfortunately, she hadn't had the opportunity to meet him. Xiang Shui, upon hearing Mr. Qin, looked at Qin Fan with a strange expression. This Mr. Qin seemed to be Big Brother Qin. Why did sister say she hadn't seen him? Could it be that it's not the same person? Have you heard of Zhou Daijian? Xiang Dongying asked. I have. Over a decade ago, he caused a lot of trouble in Zheng City. My grandfather suffered a lot from him, and he also caused many families to break up. But I heard he died 10 years ago, Lin Xingyan replied. I've heard of him too. 10 years ago, Zheng City was in chaos because of him. Fortunately, heaven has eyes and took care of this scoundrel, Zhang Xuefan added. He didn't die. He fled abroad, but he recently returned to Zheng City and made quite a few moves, all of which were resolved by that Mr. Qin, Xiang Dongying explained. Lin Xingyan's face changed slightly in surprise. Ah! I didn't expect such a thing. If that Mr. Qin has really benefited Zheng City, I really want to meet him if I have the chance. Listening to Lin Xingyan and her father's conversation, Xiang Shui felt a bit strange. That Mr. Qin seemed to be Big Brother Qin, who was sitting right next to you. But seeing the seriousness of the two, she wondered if she was mistaken, and Big Brother Qin wasn't Mr. Qin. So she didn't speak. And Qin Fan? He just remained silent.